Hey guys. Here is part 2 of What If Naruto Became a Jedi Knight. Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start.
We are pain, that's all. We are God.
Chapter 22. Flashback. You will never win, Uchiha, Revan said, standing between the body of her lover and the traitor. You scream about power and greatness, but alls you are is a spoiled little boy that needs others to do what you can't. Take it back, fox whore. The Dobe has never beaten me, and he never will, Sasuke said, his Sharingan eyes blazing. Revan was not impressed. Every time you meet Uchiha, he holds back. He's never once unleashed his ability or power on you. And even now, you're using traitors to weaken him before you fight. You're not superior, you're weaker than a genin. Sasuke attacked, the grass cutter slicing through the air, but Revan used the pair of vibro blades she'd brought with her and slapped the poison blade aside. She spun, the tip of the sword nicking Sasuke's chin and leaving a deep cut. Sasuke staggered back, a hand clutching his bleeding chin, his glare promising death to the dark-haired woman that had been around the Dobe for the last 2 years. Join me, he said suddenly. Revan looked at him and laughed. You know, I knew a boy like you once. Sasuke waited. And? I sliced off his jawbone, she said, reversing her grip on one blade. And I killed him years later. Now ask yourself this, Uchiha, if I would do that to someone I considered my best friend and brother, what will I do to you? Sasuke and his team retreated, and Tsunade rushed up to heal and remove the poison from Naruto. Revan sheathed the swords on her back before kneeling next to the blonde who captured her heart. You idiot, she said. You wake up, we are going to break this bad habit you have of showing mercy to people who've tried to kill you. Tsunade snorted as her hand glowed green. Good luck with that, girlie. I've known him since he was 12, he's still a lovable baka who cares too much. Revan stroked the whisker marks and sighed. He's getting better, she said. Tsunade nodded. The blonde's path of destruction through the bandit camp that Team Hebe had created was testament to that. Naruto groaned. What hit me? He muttered as his eyes fluttered open. Danzo with a poison-coated stiletto. Oh, the blonde said, looking at Revan. I really need to do something about that asshole. I did. He's gone on a sudden diet and lost 8 pounds, Revan said with a smirk. Oh? She cut off his head and then punted it over the camp. Sai has gone with Shikamaru, Kiba, Neji and 3 squads of loyal Anbu to remove the rest of the root forces from Konoha. Oh, good. Sleepy now, Naruto said as he closed his eyes. Revan shook her head. Idiot. You care about everyone, it's going to be the death of you someday. End flashback. Revan sat upright and looked around. I hate remembering the number of times he nearly died, she thought as she looked at her husband who was sleeping soundly. The pair had commandeered one of the cabins. More to the point, Revan told anyone that if she didn't have alone time with her husband they would get a force-powered lightsaber enema. He was sleeping on his back, his bare chest reminding her of their actions before sleeping. After all these years, and it never gets old, she thought as her memory recalled his touch, his kiss. I keep thinking like this, and he's going to get molested in his sleep, Revan thought as she grabbed a robe and decided to get some of the swill that the pilot only tried to pass of as kappa. I'm spoiled by living with Naruto for decades on Ibanez, she thought, passing the sleeping Shmi and Anakin. Checking the wall chrono, she saw that it was still early. Why do I keep thinking of that backwater world now? I mean, yeah, I miss our friends, but most of them were old when we left. They have to be dead by now. She sighed, pouring the coffee and carrying it back towards her room with Naruto. I started dreaming of the Uchiha when we met the boy. Is that a sign? Is he going to turn out like the Uchiha if he gets training in the temple? I hate visions, especially cryptic ones. Slipping back into the room, she smiled, seeing Naruto still asleep, his blonde hair sprawled like its owner. Going to her possessions, she picked up the holocron that they found on Nar Shada. Do I really want to hear what the others have to say? Can I really take it after all this time? Her fingers traced the markings on the holocron, then she put it down with a sigh. Such a sigh from a beautiful woman. That deep of thought's love. She looked over her shoulder to see Naruto awake and laying on his side, looking at her with concern. Just maudlin memories, I guess, she said. You had another dream, he said as a statement, not a question. Which time? When Danzo stabbed you in the back with that poisoned stiletto, she said. Naruto waited till she put her mug down, before pulling her to him. I'm right here, love. Alive and well. That is decades ago. I know, she sighed. They started up again when we first met the boy. The Gaki? Naruto looked down at her as she rested her head on his chest. She nodded slightly and let a breath out. Something about him reminds me of the Uchiha. Naruto paused and Revan looked up to see his eyes unfocused. Shaking his head, he looked at her after a moment. We'll be careful then. Right now his future is shrouded. I'll talk with the Trog when we get back to the temple, Revan said as she enjoyed the sensation of being in her husband's arms. What will we do till then? He asked with a teasing smirk. I suppose I could work on HK a bit, Revan said teasingly, and made to rise from the bed. Naruto's hand was there just as fast as Jedi reflexes and pulled her back into bed atop of him. You spend more time with that droid, and I might get jealous. Of a droid? She asked, then froze as a memory surfaced. Her shudder had Naruto looking at her. What's wrong? He asked in concern. Revan looked at him. I just remembered a woman, back after the council had wiped my memories and I had taken up training again on Dantooine. I can't remember her name, but I do recall that her husband had died and she treated the droid as a replacement in everything. Naruto looked a bit piqued. Everything? At her nod he shuddered. Karth mission and I found it out amidst the plains. It was letting the calf hounds destroy it. She sighed. We killed the hounds and were about to return it back to the enclave where his owner was waiting when it begged to be destroyed. I saw several paths at that point. I could comply and tell its mistress why. I could destroy it, spare its owner and tell her that the calf hounds destroyed it. I could destroy it and tell her it was still out there, or I could take it back. Naruto listened. And? He asked when she had remained silent for several minutes. I listened as Karth made jokes and innuendo. I felt bad for the droid, so I promised it I would destroy it and tell its mistress that it had been savaged beyond repair by the hounds. She sighed. It thanked me. Revan looked up at her husband. I recovered its memory core and downloaded it. What she did to that thing? She shuddered. Some people, when they are hurt, will do anything to feel, Naruto said, and Revan knew what he was talking about. Enough about that, she said, straddling him. I'm feeling neglected, she said as his hands rested on her thighs. He gave her a grin. Really? Even after 4 hours last night? It's a new day, dear, she reminded him. His hands slid up to the belt of her robe and gave it a tug. Well, I wouldn't want to be accused of neglecting my wife. The robe parted, showing expansive tan skin and aged white scars. Naruto traced them as his hands made their way up to her breasts, gently palming them, his thumbs rubbing the nubs, getting a soft moan from Revan, her hair loose from its braid hanging down her back as she arched into her husband's hands. Revan's moan got louder as Naruto flipped their positions and he was between her legs, his head moving down, as he slowly kissed the expanse of skin, his tongue dancing around her belly button. Naruto smiled as he kissed her inner thigh, his hands teasing her folds. He was just about to taste his wife when the door chime sounded. Gah! Revan snarled in frustration as the door chimed again. Naruto rolled to the edge and grabbed his pants, and after zipping them up he went to see who just endeared themselves to his wife. It hissed open and on the other side was one of the queen's handmaidens. Sable? Suddy? Sammy? Naruto thought, but shook his head. Yes? Her Majesty wishes to speak with you and Lady Revan before we arrive at Coruscant. The captain assures us we are nearing the system and should be there in less than 2 hours. Naruto sighed. Being a Jedi is almost as bad as being a ninja and a kage, he thought. Tell Her Majesty we will join her shortly. The handmaiden nodded and left. Naruto palmed the door control and it hissed shut. He barely managed to turn with the warning in the force as his wife tackled him, her legs wrapping around him. She can wait, she growled. Naruto knew from years of marriage to never argue with his wife as he carried her back to the bed. Obi-Wan looked at the wall separating the room he shared with his master to the room that housed the Namikaze and knew that next time he traveled he was going to see about getting a cabin further away. Must they do that again? He asked, covering his head with a pillow. Kagan chuckled as he finished getting ready for the day. Someday you'll understand, my young Padawan, he said. I doubt it, Master. Unless the Order changes rules. Kagan smiled as he heard Revan's yell of pleasure and shook his head. But do they have to be so loud when rubbing it in? He muttered as he put his hair in its messy ponytail. Chapter 23. The Naboo's ship slipped across several lanes of traffic as it made its final approach to the landing pad. Naruto was bouncing from foot to foot, anxious to be off the ship. Behind him HK was making adjustments to his assault rifle. The droid was eager to see how the galactic core had changed and how many meat bags were ready to test his skills. Revan was quiet, The Queen had spoken and asked for their support, but Revan reminded her that the current order worked for the Senate. If the order was like it was in my time, we were separate from the Senate and work in conjunction, but we had our own way, and didn't need the Senate's permission to do the right thing. Anakin was fidgeting. Shmi kept a hand on his shoulder. Behind them was Kagan and Obi-Wan, then the handmaiden surrounding the Queen and her guards. The thud of the ship landing was smooth, and Revan looked at Naruto with a grin. Master Yoda is here, and he feels irritated with you. Wonder why? Naruto grinned, and it reminded her of the fox. Not sure, love. He gave her the most innocent of eyes. She knew he had done something. Wait, what was the prank you did before we left? Prank? What prank? Naruto asked innocently. The one you asked me not to tell your wife about. Obi-Wan chirped from his place by his master. You hush, or I'll implement you as my accomplice. You don't know the meaning of the word. Obi-Wan fired back. Sure I do. I'm an educated man now. Revan laughed. She had to admit over the years her goofball of a husband took to learning languages, and his mathematics skills had climbed once she showed him how it could apply to tactics. He also loved how they worked with his seals. Behave and accept your punishment like a man, she said. I also sense Master Windu isn't pleased with you either. Naruto snickered as the ramp descended, and he smirked. Let's go see the in-laws. Revan sighed. You are such a child at times. I wonder why I married you. Naruto's grin warned her that she was going to be embarrassed by whatever he said. Because you saw me naked and haven't been able to keep your hands off me all these years. I knew it. Behind her the handmaidens could be heard. She could picture the blushes. I was drunk, Revan said, and walked down the ramp, a smirk on her face. She reached the platform and stopped, seeing the group of Jedi Masters to the side of the Supreme Chancellor and a couple of senators. Revan couldn't help it. The laugh escaped as she took in the neon pink and orange robes of the Jedi Masters. Naruto stopped next to her and grinned. Looks like someone had trouble with the laundry. Kagan and Obi-Wan gaped. Yoda approached. The whole temple pranked you have. Allowed access to the laundry room, revoked your privileges have been. Naruto smiled at the head of the council. But Master Yoda, the orange makes you look years younger. Humph, funny it was. New robes needed, the order needs now. Reprogram the droids in the laundry room took time, it did. Naruto shrugged, not at all embarrassed at being caught. Look at it this way, it showed lax security that deep in the temple. Mace Windu in a bright pink robe glowered. Security shouldn't be needed in the temple. It should be safe. Naruto looked at him. Did the younglings enjoy it? Mace clenched his jaw. They did. Then he asked. How did you program the nursery droid to sing like that? He finally asked. Easy. I read the schematic and I remember Revan mentioning that you can program it to do anything. So I hooked it up to a computer in the younglings' library since I'm banned in the archives without a master present. Obi-Wan remembered Naruto painting the busts and the archivist's reaction. Later we will discuss your punishment, Yoda said. They watched as the Queen and her escorts leaving with Senator Palpatine. They took Shmi and Anakin with them, but the boy kept looking back at them like a lost Inuzuka puppy. Revan's hand on his forearm brought him back to the discussion as Kagan informed the Chancellor of what had transpired with the negotiations. Supreme Chancellor of the Republic, Valorum sighed. That is not the story that has been making its way in the Senate, he said, feeling more tired than ever possible. The current crisis added to his burden. Jedi Temple. Naruto smirked at the multitude of colors. See, brown is so. Scrub the training room you shall, Yoda said as he hobbled along beside Revan's husband and his somewhat apprentice. Consequences there are for your actions. I know, Naruto said, and he created 20 clones and sent them to work. Cheating, that is, Yoda pointed out. Just deal the cards. The Jedi Master chuckled as he did so. Strange it is. Feel like I should be scolding you. Bah. You get too serious, you lose focus when something big comes along. When I was Hokage, I found that taking time to have fun made things easier. Naruto smirked as he looked his cards over. You know, Rev's going to be pissed when she sees you're teaching me to play Pazak. Humph, teaches you mathematics and skills that can help you later in life. Yoda muttered as he chewed on a root of some kind. Revan smiled as she closed the panel on HK-47's back. Well, he did give you a few new upgrades. Mistress is too kind. Statement. Master showed me several glorious ways to destroy more useless meat bags. Retraction. Master would not show me the power source for this chakra he talked about. Joyous interjection. Perhaps Mistress could install the new power source into my systems so I could be more effective in my tasks? Revan smiled and patted the droid on the shoulder. I'm afraid not, HK. In order to use chakra, you have to be like Naruto and I. Query, an efficient and effective killer? Negative, Revan said. You need to be in your terms, a meatbag. Oh, Master, what a cruel jest, HK said. If you're well behaved, we'll take you to the lower levels. I'm sure there are swoop gangs you can use as target practice. Oh, Master! Your kindness knows no bounds. Statement. As I informed the other Master, if you were but a droid, you would be a perfect match for this unit. Revan shook her head and recalled HK saying something like that before. Alas, poor HK, I am flesh and blood. I won't hold it against you, Master. Your programming might be faulty at times, but you always revert to base operating procedures. Amended statement. You always find the biggest fight to get into that allows me to showcase my glorious programming to its fullest. Revan remembered the time on the Starforge. While her and the others went to find Bastila and Malik, HK along with Zalbar and Canderous Ordo carved a path of destruction throughout the giant weapon manufacturing station. Revan remembered Ordo offering her a fortune enough to buy a moon for HK, but she declined. Both the droid and the Mandalorian seemed depressed with that for a time. I'm going to work out for a bit, she said, grabbing her lightsabers from the rack Naruto had built for them. Run a diagnostic, and I'll install that new computer package after dinner. Affirmative, mistress. And top off your power pack. I don't know what's coming, but I think it will make our adventure on Tatooine look tame. Statement, joyous glory. Revan left and knew that the exile must have altered some of the programming. I don't remember HK being this hopped up on blowing things up last time. Of course, the last time I saw him was 4,000 years ago. With a shrug, she left to practice some saber forms. With the Sith around, I best not be lax. Revan smiled, seeing Obi-Wan and Kagan on the mats. Hello, boys. Want to help me out? Both shook their heads and backed away. Revan pouted. No one wants to play. I'll work with you, Master Revan. She turned to see Mace Windu step up with his purple lightsaber. I don't get enough time to spar with council duties, he said. Revan smiled and went into her stance, one blade pointing up, the other diagonally across in front of her. They moved without word. Revan smiled, and after a series of parry and blocks she stepped away. Interesting style. This is the famed Vapad I heard about. Mace nodded. Your style, it is emerging. Yes. While I was on Ibanez, I needed to alter my styles to work with the type of combat. The 7 Jedi and 7 Sith forms when untied actually make a better style than either one alone. Obi-Wan off to the side looked at his master and asked, Did she say Sith style? She did. In Revan's time the Sith had saber forms all their own. Over time they were lost. I think she outside a holocron is the only one to remember them. If she ever takes on an apprentice they will learn much from her. What about Naruto? Obi-Wan asked of his friend. Revan must have heard him. Even though her blades were attacking and blocking Mace's, she answered. I've taught Naruto the base of all of them. Mixed with his fighting style he's created something new. Add in his Kagebunshin and even something more dangerous. Obi-Wan paused then spoke. I saw him in the workshop making several more lightsabers. I think I counted 7, maybe more. Revan nodded as she landed after a flip and stabbed back with her red blade. Mace managed to avoid getting impaled on it. Using his own blade as a buffer, he rolled away. Yeah, he's got another idea. We'll just have to wait and see. She spun with a flurry in the Sorisu form, and before she finished spinning she finished with a flip in the Adder form. Mace was on his back blinking. How? Revan gave him an easygoing grin. I have had 4,000 plus years to brush up on my form. She deactivated her lightsabers and they vanished with a poof of smoke. Mace accepted the hand up and stood with a groan. I'm getting too old for this. Revan laughed. When you get to be my age, then complain. You just need to get in the gym more. Too many sessions on your butt, you'll start to look like a hut. Mace smiled at the easygoing manner of Master Revan. I didn't know some of those forms, he said. As I said, I combined some Sith with Jedi forms and then I combined some of the sword styles from Naruto's home world, and the end result is Master Windu needing to practice more. Obi-Wan interjected. Don't you have something to do, Padawan? Kagan asked. Nope. Revan laughed at the mistake as Kagan assigned him to find Naruto and see if he needed help. Never admit you have nothing to do, Padawan. Masters love giving make work jobs. And you don't? Obi-Wan asked. Ben. I'm married, it's my right. Mace and Kagan chuckled as Obi-Wan left, and just in time as Revan was telling them a tale about the time her and Naruto had to fight a group of Hunter Nin, and the idiots had broken into their hotel room. By the Force, she has no shame, does she? He thought and was relieved not to hear what happened next as he turned the corridor, the Force leading him deeper into the temple. I wonder what Master Yoda has him doing as punishment, he mused, thinking of the number of jobs he'd gotten assigned to when he was a youngling and broke the rules. Obi-Wan was surprised when he found the pair playing cards. Both had piles of credits in equal amounts. What is this? Yoda's chuckle joined Naruto's. Hey Ben. How was saber practice? Gambling. Join us you must? Yoda said. Yeah, we're sort of deadlocked, and you can keep Master Yoda honest. Humph, cheat I do not. You use the Force. I feel it. Imagining you are. Obi-Wan sighed as he was soon dealed into the game. His meager allowance of credits was being consumed and the opposition were chuckling and outright laughing. Maybe I should have stayed for Revan's story, at least this way I wouldn't be broke. Chapter 24. Obi-Wan looked at his friend, with a look that said it all. Why are you making so many lightsabers? He finally asked. I had an idea while HK and I were out hunting bounties, Naruto said as he adjusted the focus lens and inserted an emitter. Where did you get all the parts? Obi-Wan asked, his curiosity getting the better of him. Naruto smiled. Found some on Tatooine, others Rev had in her vault. Master Yoda gave me a couple of parts and crystals as well. Gave? Obi-Wan asked with a raised eyebrow. Okay, I beat him in Sabak and Pazak, Naruto admitted, and Obi-Wan shook his head. So is that what the two of you have been doing all the time? No. We were training those times. But while my clones were cleaning up as my punishment for dyeing the robes, Master Yoda and I were relaxing and talking. Obi-Wan nodded as he recalled the very topics the two discussed. From application in theory, to about Naruto's youth and his training as a ninja, to the newest lifeforms that they brought back with them. You and Revan serious about presenting the boy to the council this evening? He asked. Yeah. Can't hurt to have him tested, Naruto said with a shrug. Obi-Wan shook his head. I think it's a bad idea. He's too old. Naruto gave him a look. And what am I? Sushi? No, but you had training of sorts long before you came here and… Obi-Wan shrugged. If he was in Konoha, he'd be added to a class. There is no such thing as too old for training, Naruto said. Obi-Wan conceded the point with, You might be right, at least teach him the basics to make sure he doesn't go bad later. Naruto shook his head. Revan said that even masters can turn. This nonsense of age for training, you all are worried about it, a bunch of cow hockey. Naruto closed up hilt he was working on and stood. Obi-Wan stepped back and watched as Naruto activated the lightsaber. The orange blade sprang to life with a comforting and familiar snap hiss. The steady hum brought a smile to Naruto's face. I could make these for a living. Actually, you couldn't, Obi-Wan said. Each Padawan and Jedi make their own. It's part of the process and trials. Naruto shrugged and put it on the bench before picking up some tools. You're putting runes on it as well? Obi-Wan asked in surprise. Yup. Hey, you want me to put a few seals on yours? He asked. I'm not sure, Obi-Wan said. He did admit to himself that he was intrigued, but until he learned more about chakra and Naruto's world he wanted to wait and make an informed decision. It's okay. Rev took a bit of time too, Naruto said with a grin as he remembered his wife's early statements of barbarism and backwater mysticism. I hear that the Senate will be meeting tomorrow, Naruto said, surprising Obi-Wan with the change of subject. Yes. They will be in session. The Queen will be attending and bringing the Naboo's troubles with the Trade Federation to light, and their occupation of her world, Obi-Wan said. I always hated council meetings when I was Hokage and I had to deal with only 24 people, Naruto said as he started working on another lightsaber. No one can agree and everyone believes that their problems and issues matter the most. Obi-Wan listened as his friend described his time as Hokage. There were times I was tempted to get rid of them all, but they did help somewhat. It took me a lot of time to learn to play politics, but Rev helped me. When I named Konohamaru Sarutobi my successor, I'd already spent years teaching him to take over. Naruto smirked. I think that was the best birthday present I ever got him when I named him Hokage and put the hat and robes on him. Laughter from the door turned both to see Revan with Kagan. I have a photo of that, she said. I didn't know his eyes could get that wide. Naruto smiled as his wife kissed his forehead and looked at the workbench and the lightsabers. How many more? She asked. This is the last one, Naruto said. Kagan looked at the lightsabers. 12? He asked. 13 if you count his first lightsaber. Obi-Wan corrected his master, and Naruto nodded. After I'm done with this one, I'll show you an attack I thought of while me and HK were bumming around Tatooine. Speaking of HK, Revan said, putting a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Care to explain what jutsus you used that fascinated my droid to thinking you were the greatest thing in the galaxy? Naruto chuckled. Obi-Wan was amazed that the blonde was able to concentrate on building a complex lightsaber while at the same time holding a conversation. He looked at Revan and noticed she wasn't surprised. Well, it was a series of jutsus actually, Naruto admitted. He looked up from his work to see Revan's eyes staring at him. Hirishin, Rasengan, and a few Katan and Suetun attacks. Which? Revan asked. Air, Phoenix Fireball, a couple of low-level water attacks like Water Whip, Water Missile, and Water Prison, Naruto said while working. Obi-Wan was amazed how quickly Naruto's hands were connecting wires, placing emitters and adding several small gems. He wanted me to install chakra in him so he could, in his words. I know his words, Naruto said. That droid has issues. Revan laughed. Really, Revan? Kagan said. You should wipe the droid's mind. It's not proper for a Jedi Master to have an assassin droid. Revan sighed. He's more than a droid. He's my friend, she said and felt Naruto's hand take hers. Naruto understood. She smiled at him. The Namikaze shared a moment before Naruto went back to work. Obi-Wan, however, had to open his mouth. Did you know Naruto and Master Yoda were playing Sabak and Pazak? Naruto winced as his wife turned her gaze on him. He pretended he didn't notice and kept working on his lightsaber. The training room was packed as the Namikaze entered. I think we draw a crowd, dear, Naruto said as he looked around to see the masters and many Padawans as well as younglings. We are interesting to them, as we do things differently, Revan said. How do you wish to do this? Create a blood clone, Naruto said. This is a new attack, well, sort of. She looked at him. It's something new with the Hirishin, he explained. Revan looked at him. You're using lightsabers? He grinned. Watch. Revan nodded and the assembled masters talked softly when a replica of Revan appeared next to her, and they couldn't tell the difference. The real Revan stepped back with Obi-Wan and Kagan, who looked at her. Safety measure, she said. The blood clone and Naruto walked out onto the mats. The RBC, Revan blood clone, drew twin lightsabers and they activated with a snap hiss. Naruto drew his original pearl white lightsaber, and they went through a series of attacks and parries. On the sideline, Obi-Wan watched. Your clone is rather aggressive, he said. Blood clones usually are, she said softly, watching as her husband parried and spun away. Her clone used a force wave to try and catch him, but he flipped over and tried to slice the RBC's back, but it managed to block with a blade behind its back. Impressive abilities clone has. Revan looked down to see Master Yoda. With enough chakra, the clones can be independent of the original. When they dispel, all the knowledge and experience goes back to the creator. Her eyes watched as the RBC went on a hostile attack that Revan remembered using against Malik, but she breathed a bit easier at seeing Naruto counter, and then it happened. She watched as her husband used a jutsu without hand signs, and 12 lightsabers appeared suspended in air, and she realized that he was using wind jutsu to keep them aloft. Here it comes, Revan said and braced herself as the yellow flash returned and Naruto appeared by each saber, ignited it, and attacked. The RBC's silent scream as Naruto's aggressive attack tore it apart. The last one was a downward slice and it dispelled. Naruto turned to look to see Revan winced and clench her eyes shut. His euphoria at creating the jutsu ended seeing his wife's face and the lightsabers deactivated and returned to the seal while he used the Hirishin to reappear next to his wife and hold her. Sorry, he said as he held her. They both ignored the gathered Jedi. It's okay, she whispered. I just hate the memories of the clone's death. Naruto agreed. He had many sleepless nights recalling the deaths of his shadow clones, some in simple ways, others in very violent deaths that would have been him. Impressive, Yoda said. Naruto nodded. Aggressive. Yeah. Most ninja techniques are. Naruto agreed with the aged master. Many of the Jedi were leaving, talking about what they'd just seen. Some were saying that it was Sith teachings they'd just seen and the pair should be removed from the temple. Teach not to just anyone, Yoda said. Hadn't planned on teaching that to anyone. It's something for large-scale combat, which I had a feeling I might need in the near future. Yoda made a thoughtful sound. Feel something, do you? Yeah. Been an itch since we were on Naboo, Naruto said, still holding his wife as she sorted the memories of the blood clone. Something rotten, and it's not just the occupation by this trade federation. That Sith warrior found us on Tatooine rather quickly. Certain are you that it was a Sith? Yoda asked. Revan is. And she would know best, don't you think? The blonde asked. Talk we will further in session. Examine the initial report we will, Yoda said. About the boy? Naruto asked. Summon him to us we shall. Test him we can, guarantee not what his fate will be. Naruto nodded while Revan remained quiet and rested her head against his shoulder. If he's not permitted, we have alternate ideas. Yoda looked at him. He needs focus, Naruto said. Discuss it more in session. Now take wife back to your rooms. Comfort she needs. Call you we shall when the meeting is about to start. Naruto thanked the little master and guided Revan to their room. I hate blood clones, she muttered. Naruto agreed. Not only did the creator get the memories, but the feeling as well. I forgot, I'm so sorry, love, he said. It's okay, she said as they walked, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her. It's better than testing it in actual combat and finding out it didn't work. It's not okay, he said softly. They remained quiet and in thought until the summons from the council that the meeting was about to begin. Chapter 25. To discuss much we have, Yoda said, bringing the council meeting to order. 12 masters sat in a circle around the open room. In the center stood Naruto, Revan, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, who had once more given their report about what had happened with the mission and the events. The only conclusion is that the Zabrak was a Sith Lord, Qui-Gon said. Mace Windu next to Yoda raises an eyebrow. A Sith Lord? Kiadi interjects. Impossible! The Sith have been extinct for over a millennium. Yoda spoke, a voice of reason. The very Republic is threatened, if involved the Sith are. Mace looked at his fellow master. I do not believe that they could have returned without us knowing. Revan next to Naruto couldn't believe the stubbornness of the council, but before she could speak out, Master Yoda spoke up. Hard to see, the dark side is. Discover more on who this assassin is, we must. Kiadi nodded his large head. I sense he will reveal himself again. Mace made a decision. This attack was with purpose, that is clear. I agree that the Queen is the target. With this in mind, the Naboo Queen you must stay, Master Qui-Gon. Protect her you must, Yoda said to Master Jin, who gave a bow. We will use all our resources here to unravel this mystery and discover the identity of your attacker, Mace said. May the Force be with you, Master Yoda said. Revan saw the dismissal and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan stepped out of the circle. Something more on this you wish to discuss, Master Revan? Yoda asked. A lot, she said, flipping her hair over her shoulder and looked at the gathered masters. Trust me when I say this, do not discount the Zabrak. I fought him. He is trained in the ways of the Sith. And that means he has a master. Certain are you that this Zabrak is not a master? Yoda inquired. I am. While skilled, he isn't trained enough, Revan said. And Rev would know, Naruto said. Yoda bowed his head to acknowledge this. We shall meditate on this. Stay with Qui-Gon and protect the Queen you will as well, yes? You bet your wrinkled ass we will, Revan said. I am not letting this little Sith gain a foothold. She looked at Naruto, who nodded. Now, discuss this boy I sense you wish to do? Yoda inquired, ignoring the muttering from the other masters about Revan's choice of words. Used to it they will become. Change she and Naruto bring. Yes, Revan said. During our travels I discovered a boy whose cells have some of the highest concentration of midichlorians. Not counting myself and Naruto, Revan added mentally. And after talking with the boy's mother I feel he was conceived by midichlorians. Mace looked at her in shock. You're referring to the prophecy, he said. At her questioning look he forgot that Revan had no clue as to what he meant, so he elaborated. It tells of the one who will bring balance to the Force. Revan snorted. Horse hockey, she said. I don't believe in prophecy. Prophecy is for weak-willed people that can't think for themselves. No, because I could take my lightsaber and decapitate him tomorrow and that would destroy your prophecy. I presume to think a master, Qui-Gon said, and told them his thoughts after running the test. He, like Revan, left out her and Naruto's counts, uncertain on what to make of that. I, like Revan, am curious and request that the boy be tested, Qui-Gon says. The seated Jedi Masters share looks with one on her. They nod and turn back to Revan and Qui-Gon. Trained as a Jedi, you request for him? He knew this after his talk with Naruto over their game, but he wanted it voiced before the council. Qui-Gon spoke up. Finding him was the will of the Force. There can't be doubt in that. Revan bit her tongue at that. She had her own opinion, but Mace spoke up with a resigned side. Bring him before us, then. Tested he will be. Anakin had been brought in and the four were asked to wait elsewhere. Revan took that with a grain of salt and dragged her husband back to their quarters. "What's bothering you, Revheim?" Naruto asked as they cuddled on the sofa. "They aren't taking the report of the Sith seriously. I think with what we've encountered and seen, we need more than 3 Jedi and a ninja trained in the Jedi arts." "We've got HK," Naruto said, and Revan laughed. "Turn him loose on the Trade Federation." Revan had to admit that her husband was right. Her droid would love nothing more than to cut loose. "You think the Gaki will pass their tests?" Naruto asked. "Yes. But—" She looked up from here. She was snuggled against his chest. "They won't make him a Jedi." "Certain are you?" Naruto said in an imitation of Yoda's voice. "Yes, I am. Now, let's not worry about tomorrow. Give me some sugar, baby." "Yes, my sweet master," Naruto said, kissing his wife, both of them connecting in more than physical ways. Passed the test young Anakin did, and as Revan predicted, allowing him to become a Jedi they did not. The young boy ignored the Namikaze as he left. "We can." "I don't care," the boy said. "I'm going to my mother," he said, and boarded the waiting speeder and leaving. Naruto put a hand on his wife's shoulder. "We'll speak with him after the sting of rejection eases a bit," he said, remembering his own feelings at failing the academy. "His mother will help." Revan sighed. "I hate being right." Naruto smiled, putting an arm around her shoulders and planting a kiss on her temple. "No, you don't. You love being right." "I suppose we should see the Queen," Revan said. "Let Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon be her shadows for now. I want quality time with my beautiful Jedi Master." Revan laughed. "You do need some saber practice." She laughed and rushed off, Naruto chasing her through the corridors of the temple, their laughter having many look at them, and many masters shake their heads at the display. Obi-Wan stood outside the apartment waiting for the Queen and her handmaidens. "Jedi Kenobi," one of the handmaidens said. "Handmaiden Sabe," he said. "Is Padme around?" he inquired. She paused. The Queen came out wearing full regal robes and makeup. "I have sent her on an errand. It will take her some time. We will let her know you inquired about her." Obi-Wan bowed, and he felt his master approaching and saw the man with the Queen's guard, Captain Panika. "The transport is secure, Your Highness," Panika said after giving a bow. "The Senate is forming for session as we speak." She nodded, and they headed for the building where events were about to change the course of the galaxy. The Queen paused next to Obi-Wan and inquired. "I heard that the boy, Anakin Skywalker, was taken to the temple. He passed the tests, but the Council felt that his emotions were far too unbalanced to become a Jedi," he said. "Master Revan Namikaze and her husband were going to offer him alternate training, but he was too upset to speak with them and left to return to the apartment that his mother found." The Queen nodded and continued on, followed by the Jedi and surrounded by her guards and handmaidens. Revan watched from the Jedi balcony as the Senate fought. She could see the Naboo platform and the old man next to the Queen. "Who is that?" she asked. Mace looked. "Senator Palpatine, the representative from Naboo." Revan narrowed her eyes. The Force warned her about him. Not exactly what, but it was a feeling she didn't like, and made a mental note to keep an eye on the man when she could. Members of the Trade Federation interrupted the Queen's speech, and the Chancellor, after listening to an advisor, said they would put the Naboo blockade up to a committee. She winced as the Queen called for a vote of no confidence against Chancellor Valorum. The Senate soon broke up at that. "Something bothering you, Master Revan?" Kiadi asked from his seat. "That felt like the galaxy's biggest setup. This whole Trade Federation thing smells worse than a decomposing banda." Mace was on a comlink. "Qui-Gon says the Queen has returned to her apartment for the evening." Revan nodded. "I need to find my husband. We'll meet with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan at the Naboo embassy." She reached out through the Force and felt a chill run down her spine. Chapter 26. Coruscant Lower City. "Die meatbag! -47 Hong Kong dollars," intoned opening fire on a swoop gang. Naruto shook his head as the droid enjoyed itself, decreasing the surplus gang population. Naruto avoided using his lightsaber as he didn't want this to get back to the temple. "Which is fine, as I have other skills to draw on," the blonde thought as he leapt high and came down in the middle of a group of Radian and Trandashans. His hand lashed out, and he hit the points on their bodies. Some worked, others didn't. "Wish I had a Byakugan right now," the blonde thought as he felt the kunai slip into his hand as he slashed and stabbed. In the distance he heard HK's robotic chuckle as well as the "Fire in the hole!" as the assault rifle launched a grenade into a group of swoop riders and their bikes. Naruto had to admit the explosion was spectacular. He had talked with Coruscant security, and told them that he and his droid would deal with the lower city swoop gangs. I just didn't tell them that it would be a permanent solution, Naruto thought as he dodged a swipe from one of the aliens and buried a kunai into its neck. I really need to bone up on my alien species as well as continue learning languages, Naruto thought as he sent a hail of shuriken into one of the pigmen Gamorrean. Naruto thought. HK was dealing with several more and had switched into close combat weaponry. Naruto had to admit the vibro swords were works of art. 4,000 plus years in storage, and they are as sharp as the day they were forged. Naruto looked around and found that the swoop gang was eliminated. HK, gather the bodies, we'll drop them off at the bounty office. Curious inquiry, Master, how shall we carry them all as we didn't use a speeder? Watch, Naruto said, pulling out a scroll. Inquiry, is this more of that chakra that you and the mistress possess? Yes, HK. It's more of that chakra that me and Rev talk about and use. Similar to that mythical force the Jedi use. Regretful sigh, this unit seems to be ineffective in learning the new ways of killing that you and mistress seem to exhibit. Naruto wasn't sure how to respond, then he remembered Guy and Lee's way of dealing with things. But you are very effective already, HK. Why would you handicap yourself with our ways when you already shine brightly with the perfect methods of death and destruction? The droid's photosensors seemed to be scanning him. Jubilations and joyous statement, Master is wise for being a composite of weak flesh and gelatinous liquids. Thanks, I think, Naruto said. Once the bodies were stacked, Naruto drew the seal and the bodies vanished. He handed the scroll to HK. Come on, I think I saw a lift that will let us out near the bounty office. Jedi Temple. Master Yoda looked at Revan. Exploring Naruto said he would be. Revan growled and knew that her husband was getting into trouble. Before I forget, Yoda said, getting her attention. The boy Skywalker. Revan nodded. I need to speak with him and his mother about the alternative, I just don't seem to have the time. Allow him time, after the mission with the Naboo is finished, Yoda said. I guess you're right, Revan said. Speaking of time, how is my husband doing learning with you? Yoda chuckled. Challenging as an apprentice he is. Not since Dooku has I have been kept on my toes. Yoda looked at her. Learn much from your holocron have I. Inquire about the second one you mentioned. Revan sighed. It was when I was a Sith Lord. I left it behind. I have studied the archives here and believe it was found by a Sith Lord named Bane. It's what started their rule of two. I think it was 1,000 years after I left, she said with a shrug. Not many Sith do not leave many records, and I am ashamed to say those that I did leave weren't likely to have survived this long. Redeemed you were, saw the error of your ways you did. Not many can claim they have seen both sides and walk away from the dark side unmarked as you have, Yoda said. I was marked, Revan said softly. It took me centuries to heal. To undo the damage I did to myself. Master Vandar once told me after the Starforge that I was a tale of redemption and hope. I prefer to think that I am a warning to younglings. Yoda nodded. Many younglings and even those old as masters make the mistakes and fall. Sounds like you have a tale or two of your own, Revan said to the strange little master. Much I have learned in my 8.5 centuries. Much more I still have to learn. Even masters are still students. It is the way of the Force, never stop learning. Revan nodded and was going to say more, but her comlink chirped. Revan here. Revan, Master Kagan requires you and Naruto to join us at the Naboo embassy. Obi-Wan's voice came over. I'll be there as soon as I find Naruto. Revan out. She slipped the comlink away. Well, we'll have to have our discussion later. May the Force be with you, Yoda said as Revan turned and hurried away, grumbling about a blonde baka that had closed off their link so he could get in trouble without her knowing it. Naboo Embassy, Queen's Apartments. This is a mistake, Your Highness, Revan said, and Kagan nodded. We can only protect you, we can't fight a war for you, he reminded her. My people are suffering, the Queen intoned. Be that as it may, going back like this is begging for death, Revan said. Your planet is in the hands of the Trade Federation, you have no army, and from what I saw of the Senate meeting, none of the worlds will get involved, despite them being sorry about what's happened. And with your call of no confidence in the Supreme Chancellor, you've handcuffed them and makes it impossible for them to take action. And even if they elect a new Chancellor, he won't be able to do anything for months, even a year, as he or she will need to build a power base. Revan shook her head. You're being foolish. The gathered handmaidens looked uncertain of if they should speak up. Your Majesty, this is pig-headed and foolish, Revan said, speaking bluntly. By doing this you are putting yourself into the hands of the Trade Federation. And what would you suggest, Master Namikaze? The queen said in her bland tone. The door opened and Naruto entered with HK. I have an idea, but we'll need to use a fast ship. Revan had spoken to Naruto via comlink, and he had a brilliant idea. She made alterations and he with his usual strategy came up with a plan that sounded insane. It would work. Where do you think I'm going? Obi-Wan asked, curiosity burning brightly. Malacca, Naruto said before his wife could answer. Malacca? The queen asked. To call the clans. It's time for the Mandalorians to come back to the galaxy, Revan said, her decision cemented after listening to the queen. Naruto as always supported his wife. The freighter was Corellian YT-1300 stock light freighter. Naruto smirked as Revan gave him a dirty look. Just how many bounties have you been collecting, dear? Naruto shrugged. A couple, he said, going over the pre-flight checklist. A couple of the Jedi had shown him to fly. It was nice of the queen to give us that R2 unit, Naruto said as the droid was in a secure spot behind the co-pilot's chair. Yeah, and I always liked the utility droids. They are dependable. R2, check the Navi computer and double-check my coordinates, Revan said, dropping into the pilot's seat. She was wearing Corellian flight suit and jacket instead of her robes. Naruto was wearing a pair of pants and an orange flight jacket. HK is secure? She asked. Yeah, Naruto said. Ben and Kagan will accompany the queen to the rendezvous. They won't let her go to the planet until we arrive. Revan nodded. I just hope they accept the recall. It has been 4,000 years. Naruto checked the controls. Ready to take her up? He asked, not concerned in the least. We haven't named her yet, Revan said. Naruto scratched his chin. I suck at naming things, why don't you do it? Revan smiled and she knew he was right. If Naruto named the ship, it would be named miso or after some other ramen dish. How about the Millennium Falcon? She said as the force seemed to leap out at her with the name. Perfect, Naruto said. Millennium after how old you are, he teased. And Falcon because I fly like one, she said, ignoring the barb against her age. Naruto tapped in the control as his wife brought the engines online. Coruscant Air Traffic Control, this is the Millennium Falcon from the Jedi Temple, requesting clearance to take off and head for space. Revan ran a hand over the new controls and thought. How many husbands would buy their wives a brand new ship? She thought as she lifted off, the landing struts retracting as they were cleared for launch. Sublight drives working perfectly, Naruto intoned. Radar shows clear lanes. Revan relaxed as they flew into space, the first time she'd been in control since bringing Naruto from Ibanez. R2, are the coordinates correct? She asked the astromech droid. A series of confirming whistles brought a smile to her lips. Punch it, she said, and Naruto reached up and pulled the throttles together, and the Millennium Falcon shot into lightspeed. Its destination the ruins of Malacca V, and hopefully to gathering an army to fight the droid army. Chapter 27. Revan laughed as R2 beat her husband at chess. The holographic monsters destroyed his last piece. The temporary holochess set had been loaded before takeoff by her husband, who said Obi-Wan had tried teaching him Jericho. Naruto shook his head. I give. Wish Sheikah was here, he'd show you up R2. Revan heard the tone. She agreed. It had been hard watching all their friends age before them, while they remained unchanged. Shikamaru was old when we left, by the time we got back, his grandchildren will be adults. She thought sadly of the lazy Jonin who had been one of her husband's best friends over the years. The astromecha's chirping laughter followed Naruto as he rose and headed for the section with the kitchen. Revan checked one of the stations. Already her mind was marking modifications she'd make to the YT-1300. You said you got this new? She asked Naruto as he came back with a mug of kaffa. That's what the dealer said, but Ben did some digging for me before I gave it to you. This thing's 30 years old already. Revan smirked. Well, the dealer did a great job restoring her to specs, but I want to modify her already. Naruto laughed at his wife. You know, if you scatter her all over the temple hangar, she won't be ready when you want her to be. Pish, Revan said, taking his mug and sipping the hot liquid caffeine. She could use better weaponry and military-grade deflector shields. Maybe one of those quad laser cannons, she said with hope in her eyes. We'll see after this mission, Heim, Naruto said, knowing already that he'd do it, just because the look in her eyes. The memory of the work she'd done on the ship that brought her to him were some good ones, as she spent days tearing the freighter apart and explaining everything to him. So, tell me more about these Mandalorians, he said. She'd done it before, but she knew this was how her husband kept her relaxed, by putting her in instructor mode. Revan sighed as she leaned against him while Arto was checking the ship's status. As you know, I went off to war when I had been knighted. The Mandalorians are a race of warriors to the bone. They can learn other trades, but it's in their blood to fight. They have a very complex honor system, and all clans answer to the Mandalore, their greatest warrior. She sighed. When I left known space, I left Canderous Ordo, my shipmate during the Starforge drama, behind. He planned on gathering the clans together and promised they would wait for my return after I gave him the past Mandalore's helmet. She took Naruto's kaffa and sipped some more. Would you like me to make you some love? Revan shook her head. No, I'll share yours. Naruto laughed. So, Ordo became Mandalore? He asked. From what I learned from the archives and from Jaina's holocron, he gathered the clans to help her stop a Sith Lord about 5 years after I left. She sighed. I wonder if I would have made a difference. Naruto hugged her to him. You did what you thought was best at the time, love. It's been 4,000 plus years. I think that the Republic did well without you meddling. I don't meddle, do I? Revan asked, looking at him. Only when you think it's badly needed. I think it's one of your enduring qualities, he said, kissing her forehead. I hope this works, Revan said. It will, Naruto said. How do you know that? She asked. Because you thought of it, and I have the belief that my wife is never wrong when she sets her mind to something. Revan smiled and relaxed against him, the ship's engines humming happily as they traveled hyperspace. The YT-1300 Lightstock freighter, the Millennium Falcon, came out of lightspeed at the edge of the Malacca system. You said that Jaina's holocron mentioned that she had destroyed Malacca V during her fight with your former master, Naruto asked from the co-pilot's chair. Yeah. She looked over her shoulder. We'll need a couple more seats here, she said aloud, and Naruto laughed, then flipped the intercom. HK, you strapped into the turret? Affirmative, master. Slip havoc and let's destroy some meat bags. Husband and wife shared a look. I think I'll check his processor when we're done with the Naboo problem, Revan said. He's more bloodthirsty than ever. Naruto nodded as he checked the scanners like Revan had taught him. Lots of debris, he said. Malacca V after all this time is still a mass grave, Revan said. Looks like scavengers tried to pick the debris up as well. What could have done all this? Naruto asked. Mandalorian raiders, Revan said. They hate people who rob the graves of their heroes. Now to send the signal. I hope they respond to it after all this time. She muttered and entered the code she'd set up with Canderous 4 millennia ago. Revan for a moment felt her stomach clench and nausea, before she closed her eyes and took several deep breaths. You okay? Naruto asked. Yeah. Nervous is all, she said. Naruto checked several systems and sighed. Now comes the hard part. At his wife's look, he continued. Waiting. Naboo system. We can slip past the lone ship and... Captain, we agreed to wait for Master Namikaze to bring the army. We go in ahead of time, we could jeopardize the whole thing. My people need to be freed, the Queen said. Obi-Wan looked at Padme, who was looking at the Queen. Kagan shook his head as the pilot and the captain of the guard argued about how well they knew the planet. The reason the fleet is gone is because they control the planet. They only need one heavily shielded ship to control the entire army, the Jedi Master said. Milady, the Jedi are wise in their counsel, Padme said to the Queen, who gave her a flat look, then looked back at the Jedi. Very well. Captain Oli, hide us behind one of the moons. The ship's captain nodded and left to keep them out of sensor range of the droid control ship. Your Majesty has shown wisdom. Waiting for Revan is the right course in this. Why? Panika asked. Because Revan's won wars before, Obi-Wan said from his place, his eyes leaving Padme as he spoke. She defeated the Mandalorians before, as well as a Sith Lord and his armada. Which was true. It just took place 4,000 years ago, but the woman was the same. Wait, the same Mandalorian she's gone to get help from? Panika asked with an incredulous look on his face. Kagan chuckled. Trust Revan, he said in advise, his voice not showing his own nervousness at what he thought was a folly. Malacca space. Naruto woke to hear the sound of Revan rushing into the fresher and throwing up. He slipped from the bed and went to check on her. Rev? He asked in concern through the door. She sent reassurance down the bond, along with the feeling of disgust at being sick. And he heard water, then she opened the door. I'm okay. I think I just have a bug, she said. You look pale. I just heaved my guts out, so I have a right, Revan said as she leaned against the cool bulkhead. Sorry I woke you, she said as he pulled her to him. Bah, sleep is highly overrated, Naruto said, rubbing her back and feeling her relax. Would you like me to make you some tea? He asked. Please and thank you, she said. With extra honey. Naruto smirked at his wife's sweet tooth. It's a good thing Jiraiya taught us how to seal things and preservation seals, he said as he headed for the kitchenette, while Revan sat at station and checked the ship's status. A whistle from Arta greeted her. No, everything is fine. You can go back to recharging if you wish. A series of beeps and whistles answered. She looked at the screen when one of the lights flickered. Standing, she hurried to the cockpit. Naruto, get up here. Forget the tea, she said loudly, ignoring the intercom. She dropped into the pilot's seat and brought the Falcon out of sleep mode. Naruto was next to her in his sleep pants and landed in the co-pilot seat. What? Ship inbound. It just tagged us with sonar. Revan brought the Falcon around and she saw the ship. Talk about patchwork. Big ship, Naruto said, looking at an old-style Republic cruiser. Mandalorians throw nothing away if it still flies. I'd say she's about 500 years old from the markings, but with the patchwork. She shook her head. We're being hailed, Naruto said as a light pinged. Open the channel. Revan sighed and spoke the code phrase. Alayat Orishwa Talin. Naruto looked at her. Family is more than blood. It's a proverb, she said. Naruto shook his head. Sounded rough on the throat. You think Mandoy is bad, try speaking Wookiee. Kuper, came the response in Mandoy. Sukui Revan, the other side came back a moment later. What was it they said? Naruto asked. Kuper, which means stand by, and the last bit translates into still alive Revan, she said with a grin. Looks like I'm going to be teaching you Mandoy as well as Huttese and other languages. Naruto sighed. There goes my free time. This time a voice came back over the channel in Galactic Basic. Permission to land. Revan sighed. Now comes the fun part, she said, maneuvering the Falcon towards the belly hangar of the cruiser. Oh? Naruto looked at her. Meeting the family. Mandalore Dawn, hangar. Revan in her robes walked down the boarding ramp and Naruto was with her. He squeezed her hand. You okay? Just after landing in the hangar, Revan got sick once more, making it to the fresher in time. Yes. Stop being a mother hen, she said. Line up were several Mandalorians in their armor. 3 approached, the one in the middle she picked as the Mandalore. I am Revan, she said. The helmet-covered head bowed. Jaster Mariel, Mandalore, he said. He gestured to his right. My second Montrose. The helmet head twitched slightly. And Jaster shrugged to his left. My son, Jango Fett. Revan gave a bow. I was surprised when an old code phrase was activated, Jaster said. Perhaps you can explain how you know it, and why it was vowed by every Mandalore since Canderous Ordo to answer it when it came. As I said, I am Revan and I am calling he clans to honor their vow to me, she said. Yeah, right, Montrose said. Everyone knows Revan died 4,000 years ago. Quiet, Jaster said. There is much that we need to know. Revan nodded. Then you shall. She gestured over her shoulder. My husband Naruto will join us, he know it all and I have no secrets from him. Just everyone else, Jaster said, and Revan, knowing the body language, laughed. I like you, Jaster. You remind me of Canderous. Let us speak, but it must be fast, my need for the Mandalorians is great and time is short. Jango said something low and Jaster shook his head. Revan caught it and answered. We are speaking basic as my husband has yet to learn Mandoy. Something I plan on fixing with his language courses. You let a woman speak for you? Montrose tried to be insulting, but Naruto snorted. She kicked my ass. And from what I know, she's kicked Mandalore's ass as well as several Dark Lords of the Sith. Strong women are respected. He looked at Jaster. I take it he hasn't found a woman. Around the hangar several chuckles are heard and Montrose takes a step forward. His gauntlet hand shoots out to strike Naruto, who moves his head and with a palm strike to the armored chest sends the second in command across the hangar. And that's me not even trying. The only one who gets to hit me is my wife, Naruto said, looking around. Jaster laughs. I think I like you already. Come, we'll talk. Jango, have the bridge set course for. He looks at Revan. Naboo. I need your warriors to fight a droid army. Set course for Naboo. And someone get Montrose to the doctor, he says, shaking his head. He would make a fine leader, but he can't control himself, Jaster said. As they walked, Revan looked at him. You believe me? Of course, No one would dare impersonate Revan, nor have the correct codes. Naruto walked next to the silver and blue armored Django. So, is it hot in that tin can? Curdy cut, Django said and increased his pace. Naruto shook his head. Why do I think I just heard the Mandalorian word for dope? He muttered. Revan's chuckle told him he was right. Damn. A Mandalorian Sasuke. He sighed, hoping these negotiations went better than the last. Chapter 28. Space, the final frontier. Naruto thought with a snicker. He had spent the voyage learning about the Mandalorians. Django was always around, and the more he was, the more Naruto swore the warrior was their version of a certain Uchiha. Rev. What? His wife asked as she was working on a weapons upgrade for the Falcon. Jaster had been nice enough to give her several parts, and a number of the Mandalorians were eager to help the legend they grew up hearing about. He's watching again, Naruto said. Revan looked over her shoulder and smirked. Either he's infatuated with me, or he's in love with you, she teased. Please. One like Sasuke was enough, Naruto said. Then fight him. What? Naruto asked. Mandalorians settle everything with battle. Either he hates you for some reason, or he thinks I would be a good mate and elevate his position, Revan said. He is Sasuke, Naruto whined. Revan looked up. Here he comes, she said, feeling it in the force. Django stopped at the base of the Falcon beneath them. Namikaze, he said. Hey Django, want to help install the new quad laser and sensor packages? He asked, looking at the pair of Mandalorians hefting the circular dish into place while inside the ship another pair was dealing with the wiring. No. I wish to speak with Revan. Naruto groaned and saw the look in Revan's eyes. Finish this, and have HK check the connections, she ordered and leapt down, ignoring the latter. Well, speak, young Fett, she said. You're a strong woman. One that could bring the Mandalorian people back to the height of glory they held before you crushed them. Revan outright laughed. And let me guess, that would be mating with you. Django nodded. You need someone who can provide strong children, and that fool is not worthy of you. I see. Revan, her voice becoming like carbonite. Naruto, beloved, she called in Japanese. It seems the young one wishes to challenge you for my hand. Naruto sighed and leapt from the top of the Falcon and landed next to his wife. As he straightened, he backhanded Django, sending him skidding across the deck, his armor causing sparks from the force of the blow. You little shit. Naruto stalked towards Django, and the other Mandalorians froze at a signal from Jaster, who was watching it all from across the bay with a crew working on several of the starfighters. Django drew a blaster, but Naruto kicked it out of his hand. Oh no, you want to make a pass at my wife, you are going to fight me. A clearing of the throat, and Naruto looked over at his wife. She looked at Jaster. Tell me, Mandalore, do you still use the dueling circle? He nodded. We do. Naruto nodded after a brief mental exchange. Django Fett, adopted son of Mandalore Jaster Mariel, I Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, former Kage of Konohagakure, Jedi apprentice and husband to Revan Namikaze, Jedi Master, the one who stopped the Mandalorians at Malacca V and scattered your people. He lifted Django up via his armor and glared at him. You dare try and make advances on my wife, my life mate. I challenge you to combat inside the duel ring. He shoved Django back. The young man said nothing. You will answer him, Django, Jaster said when it seemed Django wasn't going to answer. He is nothing and doesn't deserve. Jaster's blow sent him reeling, not as far as Naruto's, but still Django met the deck a second time. Honor demands much. You propositioned another man's wife. The very woman who crushed our people 4,000 years ago. If she has chosen someone to be her life mate, then that man is her equal. Django stood, his eyes glaring at Naruto, who had seen worse and wasn't affected by the younger man's look. Very well, Django said. No holding back. Naruto nodded. To the death, Django said, and Revan laughed. Naruto shook his head. Till knockout or submission. I will not hurt my wife's ties with the Mandalorian people over the needless death of the Mandala's son. You best kill me, for I will kill you, Django said. Naruto shook his head at the stubbornness of the dark-haired young man. Several Mandalorians cleared a space on the flight deck and a circle was created using fuel lines and cables. All weapons and your Jedi tricks will be allowed, Django said. Naruto shrugged. Revan spoke up then. Only one lightsaber, dear, she said, and he nodded at that, making many wonder what she meant by that. Very well, Jaster said. He could tell already his adopted son was over his head. He knew any man that could make the Revan had to be strong, not only in mind and body, but as well in spirit. Naruto stepped into the dual circle, his hands empty. Django stepped in wearing his armor, blasters and a pair of vibra swords across his back. "Prepare to lose," Django said, putting on his helmet. "Fight," Jaster said and stepped out of the circle. Revan next to him watched. "I am sorry, Mandalore, but your boy has been glaring and hinting for the last several days." Jaster nodded. "I am sorry, Lady Revan, but Django has always been headstrong and he thinks he's above everyone else." They watched as Django drew his blasters and opened fire. The snap hiss of Naruto's lightsaber coming to life blocked the oncoming blaster fire, redirecting them and forcing Django to avoid his own blaster bolts. Naruto didn't move, but stood in a relaxed stance, his pearl-white lightsaber blade aimed at the floor. "Please tell me that's not the best you've got?" Naruto asked. Django snarled and leapt into the air, his jetpack activating, and he rained blaster fire down on the blonde before him. Again, Naruto used his lightsaber to block the shots. Django snarled and pulled a frag grenade and tossed it at the blonde. Naruto, using a bit of his wind manipulation, caught it and surrounded it with a ball of air, containing the blast in 12-inch diameter of air. Naruto deactivated his lightsaber and leapt into the air, as high as Django, getting the surprise, and he connected with a spin kick that sent the young Mandalorian warrior back to the deck. The impact dented his rocket pack and he hit the emergency release, dropping it to the deck. Django fired several shots, but Naruto used a Shushin and appeared behind Django and kicked him in the back, sending him flying across the circle. Naruto materialized again and used a double axe-handed blow to drive him into the deck. "Give up, Django. Don't make me destroy you," Naruto said. Django clenched his wrist and smirked, his helmet hiding his reaction. The cable shot out and wrapped around Naruto's ankles and lower legs, snapping them together. Django gave a hard tug and smirked as the blonde hit the deck. He got to his feet and aimed the other hand and tried to use the flamethrower. The blonde vanished, leaving a log. Django looked at the burning hunk of wood, not sure what happened. He turned and his head was rocked by a kick from the blonde who had reappeared. "Damn Jedi tricks!" Naruto laughed. "Not one of the things I've used has anything to do with the Jedi, nor the Force, except for the lightsaber." "Liar!" Django yelled, getting his feet and drawing the short vibro swords. He attacked and Naruto dodged and evaded, pulling a pair of kunai from a thigh holster. The blades connected and Naruto kicked Django in the chest. On the side, Jaster looked at Revan. "He's playing with him." Revan nodded. "He could have crushed Django in one move, but he's holding back, a lot." Jaster sighed as his adopted son went berserk, trying to hit the blonde who would block with those strange knives, or duck and avoid his attacks. "Suck a warrior." Revan smiled. "I watched him grow into his potential and power. Let me tell you one thing, Mandalore, his people would have been a welcome addition to the clans. They have an honor system as integrated as yours." Mandalore Jaster Mariel looked at her. "And you haven't gone to them?" he asked, leaving it unfinished. "They are far away, and they aren't even technologically advanced. Naruto." She smiled, watching as her husband disarmed Django and after a leg sweep put a foot on the young Mandalorian's neck. "He shouldn't feel bad. Naruto's got 100 years on him." Back in the circle, Naruto looked at the man under his foot. "Give up, Django, you have the potential to be great, don't make me end it here." Django said nothing. Naruto sighed. "The hard way then," he said, and kneeling on Django's neck he hit a strike to a pressure point. Standing, he looked at his wife, who glared at him. "I know where you learned that from." The blonde grinned and scratched the back of his head. "But love, she was before you and—" Revan turned and marched back to the Falcon. Naruto looked at Jaster. "He'll wake up tomorrow with a hell of a headache. I spare his life, as I admit my wife is damn hot and irresistible." He sighed as he watched her enter the ship. "And damn moody." Jaster laughed. "It is the way of all women to drive their mates insane." Naruto looked at Django as he was carried away by a couple others. "I hope this doesn't." "It is fine. We fight each other over spilt ale. A fight over one's life mate is something I am amazed you spared him for." Naruto shrugged. "If I killed everyone that thinks my wife is hot, there wouldn't be a lot of men in the galaxy." He looked at the Falcon. "I need to check on her." Jaster watched him go and had to admit, he was a warrior that would have a song in the Mandalorian Chronicles someday. "All right, you dogs, back to work, we're nearly to Naboo. Anyone without a ship will be on the ground." Some curses and laughter were heard, and Jaster knew that by throwing his hat in with Revan it would bring the Mandalorians back into the arena that they knew best. Chapter 29. Naboo Space. Look at the size of that, Obi-Wan said as the Queen's cruiser was given clearance in a landing bay. That is a very old ship, the pilot said. Yes, but Revan has help for us. It's better than nothing and handing the Queen over without a fight, Qui-Gon Jinn said as he looked at the ship they were docking in. Once the boarding ramp was lowered, they were greeted by the Namikaze and a man in armor. Your Majesty, allow me to introduce you to Mandalore, the leader of his people, who have agreed to fight this battle. Mandalore, may I present Her Royal Highness, the Queen of the Naboo? Both leaders gave nods of their heads to one another. Revan grinned at Qui-Gon. So, what have you done? She asked, and the other Jedi Master gave her a look. Sorry, she said with a grin, which faded. Excuse me, she said and hurried off. Naruto shook his head. She says she never gets sick, but the last couple of days. He shook his head. Staying out of trouble, Ben? He asked his friend. I'm not you, Obi-Wan returned with a smile. Yeah, but does the handmaiden know that you're a goody-goody? Obi-Wan blushed and looked at the group of handmaidens that had their hoods up and were arrayed around the Queen. Stop it, Obi-Wan hissed. Jedi does not mean celibate, Naruto said with a grin, getting a blush from his friend. We're heading to the war room, Mandalore said to Naruto, who nodded. I'll check on Revan and meet you there. Naruto left the group in the care of the Mandalore and headed to the Falcon, and he found his wife once more exiting the fresher. Throwing up again? He asked, and she nodded weakly. I don't get it. I've never been sick like his before. I mean, yeah, I've had the 24-hour bug, but nothing has lasted this long, Revan said, accepting the towel and wiping her face off after splashing it with water. Maybe we should have the Mandalorian's doctor check you over, Naruto said in concern. I'm fine. We've got a battle win and a planet to liberate. Where is everyone? Revan said as they left the Falcon. War room. Mandalore wants the Queen's opinion on where he should set his forces down. Revan nodded as they walked. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan will need to stay with the Queen. I should be there, Naruto said. You've had a vision? She asked. They entered the war room and listened as Mandalore suggested dropping his troops on the fields outside of Theed as the Queen wanted to avoid damage to the city. Meanwhile, my fighters and this ship will engage the droid control ship. The Queen thought about it, and Revan saw Padme nod to the Queen. Very well. We'll send our own pilots out once they are freed, the Queen said in her cold manner. We shall stay with Her Majesty, Qui-Gon said. Revan looked at Naruto. Naruto will go with them as an added bodyguard. I shall be with the ground troops on the fields. Mandalore's helmeted head swung towards her. You want to lead them? I can command our fighters from the dawn and give those tin cans a beating with our vessel. Revan nodded. Mandalore looked at the assembled commanders. Jango shall lead our fighter squadron. Montrose, you shall be Revan's number 2. The rust-red armored warrior nodded. Naruto scratched his head. I'll meet you on the surface. Why? Revan asked. I might have an idea. I need to see if I can find him. Revan looked at her husband. Who? Bob. Revan looked at her husband. I'm going to regret this, but take HK with you. And be careful. Naruto smiled and gave her a quick kiss. Hey, it's me. That's what we're afraid of. Obi-Wan's mutter was heard, and the others that knew Naruto gave a chuckle. May the Force be with us, Revan muttered as she watched her husband go. Her gut clenched, and it wasn't from nausea. Naboo Swamp. Naruto didn't have a hard time finding Bob. Master, what do we need this inferior droid for? HK demanded, seeing what Naruto was looking for. Bob here is the key to getting into the palace and capturing the Viceroy, he said, working on rewiring the droid. Nothing beats a tri-barrel assault rifle with a grenade launcher, flamethrower, and a high-powered targeting scope. HK muttered, and Naruto swore the droid was jealous. The sooner I finish this, the quicker we can join the others. Once I get to the palace, I want you to find Revan and make sure she gets through the battle unharmed. In other words, seek and destroy all the Trade Federation droids you come across. Naruto bet that if his metal face had been able, HK would be grinning something that would put a Lee and Guy toothy grin to shame. Glorious! The palace. Where is Naruto? Obi-Wan muttered. The Mandalorians are going to start their assault soon. The squad of armored warriors with them were checking their weapons a final time. Relax. Naruto will join us in time, Qui-Gon said. His eyes were half closed. In fact, he's here. Obi-Wan, who was next to Padme, looked to see Naruto leaping from the rooftop with a battle droid on his back. He landed next to a Mandalorian and grinned. Sorry, traffic was ugly. Where's your other droid? Captain Panica asked. Making his way to Revan as we speak. This is Bob, he said to the others, indicating the deactivated droid. And what can he do? Naruto smirked as he looked at R2. While I'm sure R2 can crack any code, what better distraction than to send in one of their own? He activated the droid and sent it on its way. It'll be in position to get you into the throne room, he said as they watched it march off. While we free the pilots and get them to the fighters. Naruto pulled out 2 lightsabers. Ready? Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon nodded, pulling theirs. The Mandalorians confirmed they were ready, and the Queen, her handmaidens and guards were. Do it, Naruto said, and a pair of Mandalorian shock troops with shoulder launchers fired a pair of anti-tank rockets into the square. The tanks and destroyer droids caught in the explosion never knew what hit them. Go! Naruto said and leapt into the fray, his pearl-white lightsaber matched only by the neon-orange blade in his left hand. Between laser fire and lightsabers the droids were destroyed in a short amount of time, and the party headed for the hangar. One of the Mando troopers peered around the corner. Normal tin cans, sir. Let's go. Planes near Theed. Revan looked at Montrose. Well, they took the bait, she said as the droid troop carriers appeared. Lots of scrap metal, the bigger man said. Revan thumbed the comlink. Cry havoc and let's slip the dogs of war. Montrose looked over his shoulder. Hyukadir, he called, and the gathered warriors armed their shields. The shield generator went up and Revan smiled even as the droids were being unloaded, which made her think of egg containers. Shaking her head. Dirajuum Parjer, she said in Mandoi. Montrose nodded. Forever to be victorious to you as well, Revan. Let us show these walking scrappers what Mandalorians are made of, Revan called out. The droid tanks fired, but their shots were absorbed by the shields. Revan didn't have to tell the warriors around her to be steady. They were the greatest fighting force ever assembled, and she knew that every warrior with her was worth 100 droids. Her comlink chirped. Busy, she said into it. Mistress, I am approaching from your 6. HK's voice came over the comlink. Why aren't you with Naruto? She asked. Master said I would be better served with you. Revan grumbled and passed the word for the troops in the rear to allow HK through. Montrose chuckled and she heard his muttered, Mother hen, comment about her husband. I've fought battles and wars long before he was born. I can care for myself. Revan muttered, her eyes studying the droids and how they tried a mass bombardment to break the shields, but they had no effect. She watched the battle droids line up and saw they were going to walk in. Here they come. Be safe, my love, she sent along the bond. She got a feeling of love back. Naboo space. Getting the phrase from Revan, Jaster smirked. All fighters launch. Gunners, lock onto that ship, prepare for a broadside. Jaster wanted to be in the cockpit or on the ground, but he knew his place was needed here. As the Z-95 headhunters launched, he silently wished his son to be safe. Good hunting, he said aloud. All fighters are launched, the weapons officer said. Raise the shields. All hands, battle stations, Jaster said, putting on his helmet. I be tur jant tur ashad kyramur, Mandalore said, and it was echoed across the bridge. The sentiment was, today is a good day for some other bugger to die. Chapter 30. Naboo space. Jango looked over his scope. All wings report in. Once they were clear of the Mandalorian dawn. As the roll call came in, he nodded. Activate deflector shields. He studied the information, and if things went right, then soon Naboo starfighters would join them in the assault of the droid control ship. They better get here, or this will be the shortest offensive ever, Jango thought as they were waiting out of sensor range for the ships to show up. Planes near Theed. Light them up, Revan ordered as the first droid walked into the shield. She looked at Montrose. Note, next time add an ion charge to the shield. The rust-red armored head nodded. Mistress? HK asked for confirmation. Wait for it, Revan said, her hands on her lightsaber hilts. Here comes the pain, she said as the first row of battle droids were now past the shield and were opening fire. Snap hiss. Her lightsabers came to life, deflecting shots back while the Mandalorians allowed their personal shields to absorb the first shots. Trace in, Revan ordered, and the Mandalorians opened fire as the battle droids kept coming. She smiled as the droids came closer. She saw HK in the thick of it, his assault rifle taking out target after target, and she shook her head as her own droid threw insults at the pathetic droids, along with more words. Really need to check his processor. She thought, deflecting several shots, and once the droids were close, she used the Force. A cyclone whipped the droids around and sent them flying back into the droid army, destroying more. Her attention was drawn, and she saw the target of the attack. Montrose! Protect the shield generator! She yelled as she flipped high in the air and used the Force as she came down in a shockwave move, destroying a lot of battle droids. But that didn't matter as there were more coming. Revan knew that once the shield went down, then the tanks on the ridge by the transports would once again open fire. Her lightsabers slid around and one was in a reverse grip as she continued to weave in and out amidst the droids while the Mandalorians continued picking them apart with blaster fire. Some had drawn vibro swords, other weapons, and waded into the battle. I hope Naruto is having a better time of this, she thought as her purple blade deflected a blaster back at a droid, taking its head off. Palace hangar. Naruto swore at the amount of droids in the hangar watching the prisoners. You'd think they'd be locked up or in a detention center. He shook his head as the droids had the pilots and deck crews clustered in a corner of the hangar. Well, the electric fence is, I suppose, barrier. But even a first-year genin could get around it. Pitiful. Naruto's attack wiped out the 9 battle droids. How do you do that? Obi-Wan asked as the air seemed to slice the droids to pieces. It's my element. Many ninja can manipulate elements, some master a specific one. Wind is mine, Naruto said. His lightsaber decapitated a battle droid as Kagan kept near the Queen and Padme. Naruto shook at this, but watched as Obi-Wan deactivated the barrier holding the pilots. Get to your fighters and join up with the Mandalorians in orbit to take out the control ship, the Padawan ordered, and Naruto rejoined the others as the pilots began taking off. Hope they're as good as you say, Your Highness, he said. The Queen said nothing. Padme answered with, They are some of the best pilots out amongst the Outer Rim. Naruto nodded as they approached the massive doors that would lead them into the bowels of the palace. Before they got there, they began to cycle open. Naruto stopped and held a hand up for the others to do the same. A lone figure stood there with his hood up. Revan called him a Zabrak. Well, looks like our Sith is looking for a fight. Naruto looked at Kagan, his blue eyes asking the unspoken question. Before they could move, another figure appeared. Boy. Naruto sighed and looked at the pale-skinned bounty hunter that had gotten away from him on Tatooine. Or a sing. Twice in a lifetime, Naruto said with a grin. He shot a look at Kagan. You two take Hornhead, I'll deal with the bounty hunter. The Jedi Master nodded and Padme looked at the Queen. We'll take the long way around. The handmaiden and the Queen and soldiers took off for the right, leaving the 5 to face off. Whatever he's paying you won't be enough, Naruto said, shrugging his robe off, as did the Sith and the 2 Jedi. The Zabrak took up a stance with the hilt of his lightsaber presented before him and activated it, revealing twin red blades of his double-bladed lightsaber. He seemed disappointed that the Jedi weren't shocked or impressed, but remained quiet. Aura shook her head. It's not about the money. It's that you got in my way. Doesn't matter. Maul here offered me a moon. I told him I would do this for free. She smirked. I will take it out on you, and your droid isn't here to save you this time. I didn't need him last time. You're such a lousy shot that I. Aura opened fire and Naruto's lightsaber came to life, deflecting the shot. The pearl-white blade hummed as Naruto spun it about. Now that just wasn't nice. At the same time that Aura and Naruto began, Maul and the Jedi fought, their lightsabers a whirling dervish of movement of slashes, parries, thrusts and blocks and sheer avoidance. Master and Padawan fought together as a well-oiled machine, one would defend or attack. Maul spun and used moves that Obi-Wan had seen both Revan and Naruto use in their spars. Kicks and punches. He realized how limited the Jedi had become in their motions. We've become predictable, Obi-Wan thought as his blue blade blocked a red one, and his master came at Maul as he had been called by Sing, spun and blocked his master's green-bladed lightsaber. Even 2-on-1, he understands our attacks. Obi-Wan thought about all Naruto had talked about one time while they spared. Shaking his head, he vowed that when they got out of this, he would talk with his master about learning from Revan and Naruto, and have him bring it up to the council. Space. Jango looked at his screen and smirked behind his helm. Here come the Naboo. Light the way, he said as he moved his own fighter in as they saw the droid ship come alive with launching of the Vulture droid fighters. His fellow Mandalorians moved in from the opposite side of the moon, and he smirked at the fact that they had the droid control ship in a pincer attack. Just thousands of those damn droids, he thought, triggering his lasers and smirking as a Vulture droid exploded. All around him his fellow warriors took out targets, and they buzzed past the Naboo starfighters. Welcome to the party, hope you brought some favors, Jango said in greeting. We've got some. one of the pilots retorted, and the yellow craft joined the space battle as explosions filled the space above Naboo. While the fighters were engaged, the Mandalorian Dawn moved in and used its long-range cannons to let the droid control ship that it wasn't sitting idle. On the bridge of the Dawn, Jaster Mariel smirked behind his helm. "Once more into the breach," he said softly, as the turbo-laser cannons lit up the droid ship's shields. Palace hangar. Naruto leapt high as Aura used a pair of light-repeating blasters to send a hail of red death at him. He avoided much, and what he didn't he redirected with his lightsaber. He could see her getting pissed more and more as her blaster shots didn't connect, and Revan told him for a bounty hunter that was important as they worked hard to get where they were and Naruto was a glitch. "I was expecting her, not so soon or here, but I figured after the Sandrock that's a planet she would come for me," the blonde thought as he used his lightsaber to block and redirect several shots back at Aura. Naruto leapt high into the air, flipped, and used chakra to stick to the ceiling. He wagged his lightsaber back and forth blocking shot after shot and laughed outright as Singh yelled at him to come down and fight properly. He looked around and saw the way Obi-Wan and Kagan went, knowing he had to hurry and finish this. His gut was telling him that something was about to go wrong, and he needed to be there. And in his over a century of life, Naruto learned to never ignore his gut. Revan said it was the Force speaking to him, and he didn't argue with his wife about that, as she was his wife, his teacher, his master, and if he knew one thing, it was that pissing any version off meant trouble for him. "Here I come," he said to Singh. He held his lightsaber in his left hand in a reverse grip, using it to block more blaster shots, while his right hand he formed the Rasengan. "Sorry, I don't have time to play with you," he said and leapt straight down at her, blaster bolts flowing around him as he descended like a bird of prey, and she was the mouse. Chapter 31. Planes. Revan smirked as she recalled her lightsaber from where she'd thrown it and decapitated several battle droids to and from her hand. Her other blade she was using to deflect blaster fire back. "Montrose!" she yelled. "Do it!" Before the battle, the Mandalorians had planted explosives and the droids didn't bother scanning for them. It worked in their favor as the big warrior pushed a button on his gauntlet. At the shield line, hundreds of tubes popped from the ground and ended up chest height before detonating. "Gotta love bouncing frags," Revan said, ducking behind a Mandalorian with the shield as the droids were ripped to shreds. "You truly are something on the battlefield, Revan," Montrose said, impressed with the way the woman had directed the battle. If this is the woman that defeated the clans and bested Mandalore in one-on-one combat, she would truly be the rightful leader of the clans, he thought. Perhaps young Jango is right. She would make one hell of a mate. Revan was back in battle once more, lightsabers swinging, droids being destroyed. From his position, -47 Hong Kong dollars MKI was using the assault rifle and mowing down even more that might have gotten close to its mistress. All around the field, Mandalorian warriors were in combat, either with blasters or blades. "Protect the shield generator at all costs," Montrose ordered. He'd be damned if he allowed the droid battle tanks to pound them with artillery from a distance. "Sir?" Jaga, one of the warriors near him, said. "Look!" At the top of the hill he saw strange creatures coming from the swamp and attacking the tanks. "What the hell are those?" Montrose asked. Revan paused and looked. "Gungans. They're native swamp and water dwellers. Guess they're on our side." She blocked more blaster fire and fell back to the safety of the shields. "General," one said, and she paused. It had been a long time since anyone had called her that title. "What is it?" she asked. "Report from the palace. General Namikaze has been engaged by a bounty hunter named Aura Singh while the Jedi have engaged the Sith." Revan scowled. "The Queen and her party are heading up via alternate means as the corridors are chocked with battle droids and destroyer droids." Revan nodded. "Continue monitoring the situation. What of the space battle?" The Mandalorian that was acting as communications officer listened in for a moment. "Jango and his fighters have engaged the vulture droids with the Naboo. The Mandalorian Dream has engaged the droid control ship, but its shields are withstanding the bombardment thus far." Revan nodded. "Montrose." The warrior came over. "We need to finish this. The Gungans are an annoyance and they're only delaying the tanks." "You want a detachment to go to their aid?" "One squad with jetpacks," she said. "We can't spare more for them. They entered this on their own gumption." Montrose nodded and sent word for a volunteer squad. Revan sighed as she looked on over the battle. Business is good, she thought, ignoring the queasy feeling in her gut. Space. Jango spun his fighter along the surface of the droid control ship, trying to shake the vulture droid fighters. He saw the dream open another barrage on the far side of the ship and knew to avoid that if he didn't want to visit his ancestors too soon. A pair of Naboo sliced between him and the droids, destroying them as they passed. "Nice shot," he said. "You're welcome," came the voice of the Naboo pilot. "So how many of these do we have to destroy?" "All of them," Jango said in a deadpan voice. "Oh, is that all?" the Naboo pilot joked. "I thought it was something hard." Jango smirked behind his visor. "That's the fighting on the ground." More droid fighters were launched, and Jango hoped his adoptive father would get the shields down and destroy the ship. Starfighters sped through space, lighting it up with lasers and explosions. The Mandalorians and Naboo were good, but the droids had the numbers. Palace hangar. Naruto impacted with the hangar floor as Singh barely managed to leap away as the Rasengan tore up a large section of the floor. "Nice," he said. "What the hell was that?" Aura demanded. "That isn't anything a Jedi has ever used." "No, it's not. It's something my father created," Naruto said with a fox-like grin. "You've got good reflexes," Naruto said as he dodged the blaster fire or blocked it with his lightsaber. Aura was getting pissed. "This blonde doofus is making a mockery of everything I do. I must kill him." Naruto was smiling. It had been a while since he'd had this much fun. "I hope Ben and Kagan are having some luck with the Sith." The Jedi weren't having as an easy a time as Naruto hoped. The Sith warrior that Singh had identified as Maul was very skilled with his double-bladed lightsaber. He was blocking their attacks and managed to use kicks to send Obi-Wan off a crosswalk. The Padawan landed hard and looked on as his master was fighting the Sith alone. His green lightsaber was a blur of motion, and despite his age, he was giving the younger warrior a run. Obi-Wan cursed and used the Force to leap back up. He was a bit away and used the Force to enhance his speed to try and catch up with the pair as they entered a narrow corridor. He felt the warning in the 4 seconds before he saw Rey's shields come to life and section off the corridor. He managed to slide to a stop and saw his master kneel and take the time to meditate and catch his breath. He saw the Zabrak slam his lightsaber into the barrier and snarl before shutting it off and pace back and forth like a caged animal. Obi-Wan shut his own off and kept his eyes ahead, ready to race ahead and rejoin his master. "We're being led. He's got a plan with this," Obi-Wan thought, and he felt the pouch Naruto had given him. Flashback. "Hey, Ben!" Naruto called before they left the ship. "What is it?" Obi-Wan asked. Naruto handed him a pouch. Looking inside, he saw a strange tri-bladed weapon. "It's a tri-pronged kunai," Naruto said, seeing his friend's look. "My father created them a long time ago." "That's nice, but I'm not sure I'm the right person to give this to." "Why not Revan?" Obi-Wan asked. "Revan has one. Listen, it's not a weapon for you to use. But if you need help, throw it. I'll be there as fast as possible." Naruto paused. "As long as I'm on the planet," he said, giving Obi-Wan one of his fox-like grins and scratched the back of his head. End flashback. What did he mean by that? Obi-Wan thought. Naruto hadn't really explained it, but he trusted his friend and had kept the strange kunai close. His hand hovered over the handle but moved it away. "We can beat him on our own," Obi-Wan thought. Deeper in the palace, Padme, the handmaidens, and the Queen's guards kept the droids busy while the Queen with a squad of Mandalorians slipped into a secret passage. Padme looked at Captain Panika. "We need a different way." The man nodded. "Blow out the windows," he ordered, and the troops with him blasted the windows across the hall. Padme nodded and, using covering fire, leapt across the hall and out the window. A dozen guards and 2 other handmaidens joined her on the ledge while the rest would continue to draw fire in the corridor. "Grapples!" Panika ordered, and they attached the launcher to their blasters and shot the grapples and lines up, and they began the ascension to the upper floor. Once they reached the ledge, they stood on either side while 2 of the guards applied explosives and blew the window open. Panika and the guards went first, followed by Padme and the 2 handmaidens. They could hear the pitched battle below and crept along the corridor. The sound of rolling had them turned to see destroyer droids, and 1 battle droid stepped forward. Padme raised her hands and nodded for the others to surrender. She saw the spiral-like design on the droid's chest and the orange marking and knew this was Naruto's corrupted battle droid. "I hope his idea works," she thought. Chapter 32. Space. The Mandalorian Dream's turbo lasers rained destruction against the shields of the droid control ship, thus far unable to penetrate them. In the cockpit of his starfighter, Jango cursed in Galactic Basic and Mandalorian as he weaved his ship between the ships, hoping to lose the Vulture droid ships he'd picked up. The turbo laser crews must have spotted him as their fire intensified behind him, and the vulture droids exploded as Django's ship shot into the pitched battle with the Naboo fighters and more droid vulture ships. He thumbed the lasers and hoped that the battle on the ground was going better. Palace hangar. Naruto avoided the grenades and used chakra to leap back to the ceiling. He looked down and Sing was looking up at him, and it was a look Naruto knew well. Oh, she's pissed. He chuckled mentally. And the more she's pissed, the wilder her shots are. Naruto deflected shots with his lightsaber and used the old tried and true method of distraction, pissing off his opponent. So, bounty hunter, you get anyone famous, or do you just feed off the scraps of what the Jedi don't bring in? The barrage of blaster fire had Naruto dancing across the hangar ceiling. Oh, I think I made her mad. Power generator corridor. Obi-Wan felt it before the barriers started shutting down. Already Kagan and the Sith were facing off, and the Sith was backing up more. Blast, I'm not going to make it in time. Obi-Wan thought, and remembering the three-pronged kunai Naruto gave him, he pulled it and tossed it, figuring some backup was better than none. The blade cleared the barrier before it snapped shut, and Obi-Wan could only watch as Kagan fought the Sith alone. Neither saw the blade hit the wall, and it pulsed once as the seal on it activated. Hangar. Naruto felt it and looked at Sing. Sorry. I'm needed elsewhere. He told her, and before she could say anything he was in front of her and buried a fist in her gut. Then he hit a nerve cluster in her neck. As she passed out she heard him. It's been fun, we'll have to play again sometime. And before her eyes closed he vanished in a yellow flash. Impossible, was Aura, Sing thought before unconsciousness claimed her. Power generator room. Kagan was hard-pressed, and he was getting tired as the younger warrior was wearing him down. He wasn't vain in that his age didn't matter. But he called on the Force as it was his ally and used it to support his fading strength and stamina. He saw it a moment too late, and the elbow to his face stunned him, and he watched as if in slow motion as the Sith spun and was about to plant his lightsaber in Qui-Gon's chest. Raisin Gan! The blade never connected, and Kagan saw the familiar blonde hair, and the Sith warrior was barely able to avoid the attack as he flipped away. Hey, old man, Naruto said and grinned. Kagan took a deep breath. Hey, older man. Naruto laughed. Looks like I got here just in time. Behind the barrier, Obi-Wan was shocked. Naruto had appeared in a yellow flash and saved Kagan. Just what is a ninja? The Padawan thought as he watched Naruto engage the Sith while ordering Kagan to catch his breath. The Jedi Master watched as Naruto pulled a second lightsaber, and the fight was on once again. Both Jedi realizing how skilled Naruto was as he drove Maul back around away from them to the opposite side of the pit that was in the middle of the room. Maul snarled. I nearly had the old one, then this one appears out of nowhere. Master Sidious was not aware of this one's abilities. Maul found this warrior using both Jedi and Sith fighting styles blended together. Who is this whisker-marked blonde? Maul thought as he was being pushed, and his leg was throbbing as the blonde scored a light hit above his knee. Throne room. Ah, Queen Amidala, we meet face to face at last. Newt Gunray said in a false greeting as Padme and her people were ushered in before him. Your little insurrection is at an end, Your Highness. Time for you to sign the treaty, and end this pointless debate in the Senate. At the doorway the Queen and her guards appear. Behind them are several destroyed battle droids littering the corridor. I will not be signing any treaty, Viceroy, because you've lost. Newt and his people look stunned to see the second Queen. Newt yells at the 10 guards in the room. After her. This one is a decoy. 8 of the droids hurry out of the throne room after the Queen. Newt turns to Padme. Your queen will not get away with this. Padme slumps down and sits on the throne. Newt turns and doesn't see Padme hit a security button that opens a panel in the desk opposite Captain Panika. Padme grabs 2 pistols and tosses one to Captain Panika and one to an officer. She takes a third pistol and blasts the remaining battle droid. Bob, secure the door. She orders the tampered-with battle droid. Believe it, the droid says, and with several of the guards rush to the door control panel as Padme hits a switch on the throne to close the door. Bob jams the controls at the door, preventing them from being opened outside. Panika throws other pistols to more guards. The Neimoidians are confused and afraid. Padme on the throne straightens and looks very regal. Now, Visero, this is the end of your occupation here, she says in a very chilling voice, and too late the Viceroy realizes that the girl before him is the Queen and the other one was the decoy. Don't be absurd. There are too few of you. It won't be long before hundreds of destroyer droids break in and rescue me. Newt sputters. Power generator room. Naruto was spinning and leaping and Maul was on the defensive. The Zabrak was snarling as the blonde seemed to keep up a constant barrage of chatter as they fought. He lashed out with a kick, but the blonde spun away and his lightsabers blocked Maul's own blades. Neat trick, want to see one of mine? Naruto asked, and before Maul could comply he was weaving his double-bladed lightsaber in infinity pattern as the blonde was pushing his attack, and Maul blinked as there were suddenly two more of the blonde before him, and the original stepped back. Naruto, as the shadow clones kept Maul busy, began to set up for his final attack. 10 lightsabers were held aloft by his wind manipulation, forming a circle around Maul. The two clones leapt away and dispersed in a puff of smoke, their lightsabers joining the rest in the air. Maul looked around, wondering what was about to happen. He saw the original blonde standing with a pearl-white lightsaber. "This is your last chance. Surrender now or die," Naruto said. Maul took up a very aggressive stance. "As you wish," Naruto said, and Maul blinked as the blonde vanished in a yellow flash. Off to the side, Kagan was joined by Obi-Wan as the barrier opened again. "Should we help him, Master? Naruto or the Sith?" Kagan asked with a hint of humor. Obi-Wan paused and watched as Naruto began the attack he developed. In less than a minute the Sith warrior fell into the pit in several pieces. Naruto used the wind jutsu to keep the double-bladed lightsaber from joining its master in the pit. Naruto deactivated the lightsabers and they poofed back into the seal. He gave Kagan a grin and the master gave him a nod. "Space." Django cursed in Huttese as he spun his fighter away from the explosions, and as he banked he found himself in the hangar of the droid-controlled ship. He flew his fighter down the hangar, and he smirked behind his helmet as he thumbed the laser cannons and watched as droids and fighters went up in flames as he passed. "This is what it means to be Mandalorian," he thought. His ship's computer chirped, and he looked at the readout. "A power core here? How stupid these clankers are," he said, and had the computer lock on, and he fired 2 torpedoes as he went past. His fighter passed over more droids and he flew out the opposite hangar as the ship began to erupt around him, informing his shot had been dead on. "What the hell?" came over the comm. "It's blowing up from the inside." Another voice. "Django? Here, Mandalore. I am exiting the ship. I passed their barrier and was in a hangar," Django said. "Move your ass, boy, or it's going to fry." Django laughed as he pushed more power into the ship's engines, and he shot away from the droid-controlled ship as it exploded. He saw that the Mandalorian Dream was moving away, but was still firing on the droid ship. It exploded in a ball of metal and flame. Django got a message on a private channel and switched over. "I am proud of you, my son." Django smiled but said nothing as the channel was already closed. Plains of Theed. Revan saw the Gungan surrender even as the squad she had Montrose said rained blaster fire down on the tanks. She was slicing across a group of battle droids, so it took her a moment to realize that the droids had shut down. She looked at them and looked at Montrose, then at -47 Hong Kong dollars MKI. Her gaze went to the hill where a Gungan pushed a droid over. Shaking her head, she looked at Montrose. "Police the droids, prepare them for transport." "General?" Montrose asked. "Mandalorian salvage rights," Revan said and walked away. Montrose watched her go. "What a leader," he said, and once more wondered if Django had the right idea and how they could make it happen. He turned and gave orders even as Revan and her droid boarded an airspeeder and shot away to the palace. Naboo. Several days later. A large grand cruiser sporting the symbol of the Supreme Chancellor lands in the palace courtyard. Captain Panika and 20 troops guard Newt Gunray and his assistant Rune Heiko. Obi-Wan, Kagan and the Namikaze stand with Queen Padme Amidala and her handmaidens. Naruto had laughed his ass off when Obi-Wan learned that Padme was the queen. Padme in a white gown looked at the Neimoidians. "Now, Viceroy, you are going to have to go back to the Senate and explain all this." Naruto in a false low voice spoke up. "I think you can kiss your trade franchise goodbye." Naruto, after killing Maul, had returned to the hangar and hadn't been too surprised to find Aura Singh gone. He knew they'd fight again. The main ramp of the cruiser lowers as Obi-Wan and Captain Panika lead the Viceroy and his assistant toward the ship. The Supreme Chancellor Palpatine and several Republic guards descend the walkway, followed by several Jedi Masters. Mace Windu and Master Yoda amongst them. Chancellor Palpatine is greeted by Queen Padme. "Congratulations on your election, Chancellor," she says. "It is good to see you again." Palpatine bows slightly. "It's good to be home. Your boldness has saved our people, Your Majesty. It is you who should be congratulated. Together we shall bring peace and prosperity to the Republic." Naruto leans over to Revan and whispers, "Sounds like he's running for re-election already." "OF." The last was his wife planting her elbow in his gut. "Behave," she hissed. Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon greet the Jedi Masters. It is then that Revan notices a familiar young boy with Palpatine as Panika leads the Neimoidians to the ship to be placed in security cells. Anakin? The boy looks at her sadly, and she can feel sorrow and rage rolling off of him. She notices bandages on his arms and around his neck. Revan and Naruto approach him. Mom's dead, he hissed at her. And it's all your fault. Revan blinked as the boy stalked past her and stood behind Palpatine. She looked at the gathered masters. What happened? Mace spoke up as Yoda was getting the report from Qui-Gon. Shortly after you all left, there was a fire at the Skywalker apartment. Shmi Skywalker didn't make it out. A citizen nearby broke the door down and got Anakin out. Palpatine took him in. He's made Anakin his aide in training. Revan felt something and looked over her shoulder, seeing Palpatine resting a hand on Anakin's shoulder even as he was talking with Padme. We need to speak with the four of you, Mace said, getting Revan's attention once more. Where are the warriors that fought the battle? Gone. They did the job. Parades aren't in a Mandalorian's vocabulary. They do the job, then get out. They aren't known for staying in one place, Revan said with a smirk. Like someone else I know, Naruto said, and got another elbow in the gut from his wife. Yoda approached and paused. He looked at Revan, and she could feel him reach out with the Force. What? She asked. Yoda frowned and he looked at her closer. Congratulations to you and Naruto, I give, the aged master said. The battle was nothing, Revan said with a dismissive wave of her hand. Battle droids are nothing compared to Mandalorian warriors. Battle I not speak of, nor of Naruto's duel with the bounty hunter or Sith warrior. Speak of child you carry I do. Revan blinked, and it took a moment for the words that Master Yoda spoke to register. It didn't take as long with Naruto as he let out a massive whoop and picked her up around her hips and spun her around. Put me down, you Neanderthal, Revan said even as the smile was on her face. Her hands were on her husband's shoulders. Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon looked on. Is that allowed, Master? Qui-Gon smirked. Whether it is or isn't is irrelevant as it is. Obi-Wan looked at his friend and could feel his happiness in the Force. The sun was setting and Naruto and Obi-Wan were kneeling before Yoda while Revan had gone to be checked out by the Queen's physician. Qui-Gon and the other masters stood in a circle around the pair. Confer unto you both the rank of Jedi Knight, this council does, Yoda said. Obi-Wan bowed his head as his Padawan braid was cut. Naruto blinked. Whoa, what? I want even a Padawan. Qui-Gon smirked as Yoda made Naruto a knight. Revan's going to be surprised, he thought. But he'd made the recommendation after the evaluation of Naruto's abilities. And Qui-Gon told the masters that Naruto did use the Force along with his chakra abilities. Yoda's chuckle filled the chamber as Naruto tried to haggle his way out of his knighthood. Revan's gonna kill me! Elsewhere, Darth Sidious looked at the remains of his apprentice. Lord Maul is fallen, he muttered in disbelief. Impossible. No Jedi has the skills to fight him and win. Shaking the cowl-covered head, the Sith Lord moved away. Matters not, I have my next apprentice lined up and there are several others I can use until he is ready. The Sith Lord walked away, content to let the Jedi believe that they have won. They won a battle, but the war is yet to come. Cruiser. Master? Qui-Gon said as he sat with Yoda. The Namikaze were in their quarters, their ship was in the hangar, and Obi-Wan was asleep in their quarters, his former Padawan still in shock over the revelation that Padme was the queen and they had spoken to a double the whole time. The Namikaze weren't surprised, he thought. Something troubles you, my former student? Yoda said, looking away from the viewport. Several things, Qui-Gon admitted. The boy, Anakin. Yoda nodded. Troubled am I how quickly he's been targeted. His mother's death no accident, I think. Shouldn't we take him in? He is strong in the Force. Tried we did, the Chancellor has refused, saying Anakin wanted nothing to do with us after we turned him away. Qui-Gon flinched as he recalled Revan and Naruto both tried to talk to the boy, but he would walk away or the Chancellor would call him to help him with something. Uneasy you are about the Supreme Chancellor? Yoda asked. Qui-Gon nodded. Something about him makes me uneasy. He feels. What else troubles you? Yoda said. They both knew not to speak of certain things outside the safety of the temple. There is no doubt. The mysterious warrior was a Sith, Qui-Gon said as Mace joined them. Yoda nodded in thought. Always two there are, no more, no less. A master and an apprentice. Mace looked up. But which one was destroyed, the master or the apprentice? The three Jedi share a concerned look. Namikaze's quarters. Revan smiled as she lay on her back, the lights were dimmed. Naruto had a hand on her stomach and was whispering words to their child. Behind him, she could see the stars thanks to the large viewport. "It's not that big yet, I'm only a couple weeks along," she said, and Naruto looked up and gave her a goof grin. "I take it you're pleased?" Revan said, a bit of nervousness in her voice. Naruto crawled up the bed to where he was hovering over her, resting on an elbow, his nose touching hers. "If we were in Konoha, I would be yelling it from the top of the Hokage monument." "If we were in Konoha, you'd paint it on the monument," Revan countered. "True." He kissed her. "Parents, are we ready for this?" he asked. "I am." Revan. For 1,000 years, and she wondered if she could get pregnant. Naruto smiled and kissed her again. "The question we should be asking is the Jedi Temple ready for our children?" Revan laughed. It was a laugh Naruto knew well. She'd been his teacher, his friend, his partner, his lover, and then his wife. Now she was going to be mother to their children. "Honey, the galaxy isn't ready for our children." Naruto grinned. "Ninja Jedi. I like the thought of that." Revan pulled him into a kiss. Right now, despite the uncertainty of the future, currently all concerns were on hold as far as she was concerned. Chapter 33, Episode 2, Chapter 33. "This is a bad idea." Naruto grinned as he checked the controls. "You think everything is a bad idea. And I'm usually right. But making the Kessel Run is not my idea of safety." Obi-Wan Kenobi said, his beard didn't hide his grin. "Bah, you get to be right some of the time and you think you're the greatest Jedi around," Naruto teased his friend. "Eager to be back home?" Obi-Wan asked. He stayed well away from the controls as this was Naruto's and Revan's ship. The last 10 years had seen a lot of upgrades, many of which Obi-Wan knew the Council wouldn't approve of. Revan snorted when he told her that. "I want to survive encounters, not be a statistic on the Council's shelf." Naruto chuckled. "Sorry if I seem pushy to leave." Obi-Wan chuckled. "You miss your family is all." Naruto pulled out the heart-shaped pendant and thumbed the switch. It was a recording of pictures of his wife and 3 children. 3. Cammy, I thought she was going to kill me when the twins were born, but 2 years later along came our little princess. The twins were 10 and his little princess was 8. Naruto, of course, had sung his praises atop the Jedi Temple, much to the displeasure of many of the masters, and to the amusement of Master Yoda. Naruto smiled at his wife, and his eyes took in the appearance of their children. Cammy, was I ever that much of a handful? I owe Aji-san and Irika-sensei a huge apology, Naruto thought. All 3 of his children at the young age of 9 months used the Force. I still think it was a riot when the twins levitated, Uncle Ben. They are going to be a handful for whatever master takes them, Obi-Wan said with a rueful shake of his head. Good thing I know you're up for it, Naruto said, his attention turning towards piloting the Falcon across the black hole that was the Maul. Yes, I think. Wait, what? Naruto laughed as Obi-Wan caught what he said and his mind rebooted. Naruto, Rev and I talked about it. You're the only one we trust to work with the twins. You know they can't be separated. Obi-Wan nodded as he recalled previous attempts by the Council to separate the Namikaze twins, and it backfired in spectacular fashion. Master Komanda is still jumping every time the twins run around the temple. Naruto nodded. That was when they were 5. Heck, before I came on this mission with you, they had HKs scattered around the living room. I thought Revan was going to kill them. Ben shuddered. HK had become the personal nanny/bodyguard to the children. He recalled one time one of the politicians had tried to pick up one of the children. -47 Hong Kong dollars MKI's assault had the poor politician cowering under his desk. He heard the Bathan was now living in solace and away from all things. You do know that Master Yoda laughs every time they do something. Obi-Wan shuddered. I never knew Master Yoda had such a twisted sense of humor. The Millennium Falcon jumped out of hyperspace. We're on final approach. Hey, isn't that a Naboo senatorial ship? Obi-Wan's head snapped around and Naruto fought not to laugh as Obi-Wan's eyes landed on the large craft on approach guarded by 2 and 1 Naboo starfighters. You think your girlfriend is aboard? Naruto did laugh as Obi-Wan choked and snapped his head around to look at him. She is not my... Explain it to me, all those dinners every time the 2 of you are on the same world? Or that show she took you to last time she was here? We're just 2 friends, Obi-Wan said. You know, I used to be called dense when I was young. Do you want me to speak to her on your behalf? Please don't, Obi-Wan said. Naruto sighed. You need to make a move, Ben. Sooner or later someone's going to get close to her, and then you'll feel. Can we forego the lecture this time? Obi-Wan said. Naruto nodded as they followed the Naboo cruiser in. Send in our flight plan. We'll provide escort. Obi-Wan nodded. Coruscant Planetary Control, this is Millennium Falcon. We're inbound and providing cover for the Naboo senatorial ship. He transmitted the codes. You know how much trouble we could get in. Naruto shrugged. The followed and Naruto sent a message to the Naboo fighters flying escort. This is the Millennium Falcon to Naboo escort. Mind if we join in? Millennium Falcon? A male voice came back. Is that you, Namikaze, sir? Naruto blinked and smiled as he recognized the voice. Typho? How's your father? A chuckle came back. He's hating retirement. Followin', you can take the high seat. Copy that. Naruto maneuvered the Falcon with the same ease as his wife. Granted, she wouldn't have let him fly the ship unless she was certain of his flying abilities. As if picking up his thoughts, Obi-Wan chuckled. She treats the ship and your droids as her own children. Naruto nodded. He missed Bob, but the droid had been surrendered to be studied since the Trade Federation had pulled their droids from the market. They slipped through the traffic and Naruto looked at Obi-Wan. You feel that? The bearded Jedi Knight nodded. As they hovered as the Naboo ship landed and the fighters landed as well. Typho, Naruto said, hitting the send button. There's... He didn't get any further as an air speeder launched a rocket at the lowered ramp where they could see the senator and her personal guard coming down. Padme! Obi-Wan yelled as the landing platform around the cruiser erupted. Naruto put the Falcon in hover and was right behind Obi-Wan as he lowered the ramp and leapt across to the Naboo platform. Naruto saw a pilot at the senator's side and saw her pull her flight helmet off and sighed in relief. Obi-Wan stopped steps away as Padme said farewell to her cousin who had given her life to act as a decoy. Typho, get her to the Falcon, Naruto ordered as he scanned the area. Ben! He saw the relief in the other Jedi's eyes. Take the Falcon and the others to the temple. I'll deal with this. Obi-Wan looked about to argue, but he looked over to where Typho was escorting Padme up the ramp and nodded. Tell Revan, he said before the bearded Jedi was gone. Naruto scowled at how long it was taking the fire crews to respond. Stinks worse than a hut, he muttered. Jedi Temple. Obi-Wan sighed as he landed the ship. I hate flying, he thought, and was glad when the landing struts connected with permacrete and he began powering the ship down. He headed to the back and saw Padme pulling herself together and went to lower the ramp. He got to the bottom just in time to catch twin 10-year-olds. Uncle Ben! Anko and Haki yelled as he held them. You're getting too big for this, girls. He groaned as he lowered them to the ground. Where's Daddy? Obi-Wan licked his lips. There was an incident. Where's your mother? He asked. With Kushina, Anko said. Obi-Wan shook his head as he saw Revan walking with Kushina at a slower pace. What did you do to my ship, Kenobi? He held up a hand. Nothing. Your husband had me fly the short distance here from the Naboo landing pad. She nodded. It's on all the news nets, she said and paused. Padme. The senator from Naboo was coming down the ramp and stopped. Master Revan. The female Jedi Master walked forward and pulled the younger woman into a hug. Padme broke down. Cord did her job in keeping you safe. Don't throw her sacrifice away. She looked at Typho. We'll inform the Senate she's safe. Padme wept for the loss of another person she knew. Revan passed her to Obi-Wan, who looked shocked as the senator buried her face into his robes. Anko, Haku, take Kushina to the practice room. You have lessons with Master Windu. But Mom! 3 voices complained. March! They left protesting. Revan shook her head at how similar her Anko was to the one they knew on Konoha. I think the Force is playing games with us, she thought. I will inform the council. Obi-Wan, take Padme and Typho to guest quarters. Obi-Wan was holding the senator, and he didn't notice how his arms tightened, or how she clung to him a bit tighter. Typho for his part looked anywhere but the pair, his smile hidden as he looked away. Naruto was tired when he got the message from Master Yoda to meet them at the Supreme Chancellor's office. He took a sky taxi and made his way to the office. He was exiting the lift when he came face to face with a person he'd barely seen in the last 10 years. Anakin. Namikaze. The 19-year-old looked at him, and Naruto felt the anger in the youth. What has happened to you, Anakin? Why this rage at us? He thought as the two stared at one another. Chapter 34. Supreme Chancellor's Office. We are saddened to hear about the death of Senator Amidala, Palpatine said with a heavy heart. Dead she is not, Chancellor, Yoda said. He was with Mace Windu. Her bodyguards and decoy died in the explosion. The senator is safe. How fortunate, Palpatine said, and Yoda and Mace shared a look. They heard voices and turned to see Anakin Skywalker enter, followed by Naruto. "Ah, Anakin," Palpatine said. "Are those the reports?" "Yes, Chancellor," Anakin said, putting them on the desk. "Also, you have a meeting with the representative from—" "Ah, yes, the Rigel delegate," the Chancellor said. "I am happy to hear the senator from Naboo is safe. Would you give her my concerns?" Yoda nodded. "Inform her we shall." "Good day, Chancellor." Naruto joined the Jedi Masters. "Sorry I took so long," he said, falling in step with Yoda and Mace. "I tried to find footage of the landing pad, but it seems all cameras in the area are down. The nearest one was a bad angle and too far away." "Strange it is," Yoda agreed. "There were no landing crew to be found." "I've got Knight Tyler looking into it," Naruto said. Yoda nodded as they took the lift. "Young Skywalker, hostile still?" Naruto sighed and nodded. "He believes that if Revan and I would have been there, his mother would still be alive." Mace shook his head. "There's more than that. His anger is burning hot as it was 10 years ago. Rev and I have kept an eye on him. He works for the Chancellor, and has been off-world many times performing errands. When he's on Coruscant, he's the Supreme Chancellor's aide." Mace rubbed his chin. "There's more, but the Force is clouded. Revan had all the reports on Shmi Skywalker's death sent to the temple. She's trying to find who did it, but her contacts are coming up with very little." Naruto knew Mace and many on the council didn't like Revan's contacts. Yoda had chuckled, and Naruto heard him muttering about doing worse in his youth. Naruto relaxed as they took the shuttle to the temple. He just knew Revan was going to yell at him for letting Ben fly the Falcon. "Rest, tomorrow new task the council will have for you," Yoda said as they left the shuttle. Naruto nodded. He wanted to spend the next several days with his wife and children, but he had a feeling the job would revolve around a certain senator, and he headed towards the rooms that had been given to him and his family. He was just in the doorway when he was impacted by a red-haired missile. "Daddy!" He smiled as his arms went around his 8-year-old daughter. "Hello, little one." He kissed her forehead and turned to see his wife coming from the other room. The look of relief in her eyes was replaced by one of annoyance. "You let Ben fly my ship." "Our ship," Naruto said, and Revan's brow twitched. "Dear. Did you bring me a present, Daddy?" Kushina asked. "Yes, I did. It's on the ship. I'll get it for you in the morning." She nodded and hugged her father. "Where are the twins?" he asked, hoping to stall his wife's temper. He saw her sigh. "They are with Master Fisto. Your darling children roped him into saber practice. I swear the masters are more childish at times than our children." Naruto grinned and rubbed noses with Kushina. "It's because we're awesome ninja Jedi. Aren't we, Princess?" "Yes, Daddy," Kushina said with a giggle. Revan sighed. "You're lucky I love you, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze." She moved in and he put an arm around her, and Kushina put an arm around her mother's neck. Revan was at peace. "Now, tell Daddy he's not to let Uncle Ben fly Mommy's ship." Kushina repeated it, and Naruto sighed. "Can't win with such beauties, can I?" "Nope," Revan said. "Nope," Kushina parroted. "All right, Sprague, go pick on HK," Naruto said as he put her down. She cheered and rushed off. "You did manage to put him back together again, didn't you?" Revan nodded. "He was not happy and called them annoying little meatbags." Naruto chuckled. "He loves them, simply because all the chaos they cause in their wake." Revan smiled as Naruto wrapped both arms around her and kissed her. For this moment, the galaxy could do without them. Lift. Obi-Wan was nervous. Next to him was Revan and Naruto. He'd arrived at the Namikaze to find them awake, and the children were with Shakti. The Jedi Knight smiled as she loved working with the Namikaze children. "HK is here for security, and please don't let the children tell you they can take him apart." Now they were heading to the Naboo consulate. The senator had left early before third bell, and Revan was planning on scolding the younger woman about her recklessness. "And you let her leave?" Revan said to Obi-Wan. "I couldn't very well keep her against her will," the bearded Jedi protested. Revan always made him feel like a youngling at the temple when she scolded him. Naruto yawned and sighed. "Ben, there are times where I swear you're more clueless than I am." Revan was tapping her foot as the lift climbed the building. Once the doors opened, she stormed out, and was met by Captain Typho. "Lady Namikaze," he said, and he saw her eyes and winced. I know. Where is she?" Revan said, cutting him off. She reached out with the Force and headed for a pair of doors. "Lady Revan." Naruto shook his head. "Safer to stay back, Captain," he warned the younger man. You'll reach retirement age that way. Revan opened the double doors and heard her start scolding Padme. He shot a glance at Ben. Looking at your girlfriend in her nightie? Obi-Wan blushed and turned away and was speaking rapidly with Typho about the security of the building. Naruto looked towards another office and saw a couple other guards, and he frowned seeing a Gungan. This one looked familiar, and he mentally groaned. Naru! Jar Jar! The Gungan had been at the palace several times as an envoy between the Gungans and the Naboo. For some reason the creature kept trying to be his friend, despite the first time he met him Naruto hit him with a low-powered Rasengan. Messa happy to seize yous, Jar Jar said, stumbling over his own feet to greet Naruto with a hug. What are you doing here? Naruto after the Gungan released him. Isa bien helpin' Padme, Jar Jar said excitedly. He looked over his shoulder to see Obi-Wan looking away with a smirk. You knew he was here. Oh, Ben, you are so dead, Naruto thought as he got to speak with the Gungan. 10 minutes later Revan rejoined them with a flustered-looking Padme who was dressed in her senatorial robes. Master Naruto, she said in greeting. Thank you for your aid yesterday, Now, Padme. You know better to use titles with me. She smiled and nodded. Her eyes went to Obi-Wan. Neither said a word, but the Namikaze saw underneath, and after a shared look and eye roll Revan spoke up. Since you left the Jedi Temple in the middle of the night, we are here to provide security for you. That's nonsense. I'm sure there are other matters that require your attention. Naruto snorted. No political word plays either, young lady. Typho coughed. I'll show you the security room. Naruto nodded and left with him. You'd think after 10 years they would sort it out, Typho said in a joking manner. Naruto looked at the captain. Panika talks too much, Naruto said. He's retired, what do you expect? Him to develop a hobby, Naruto said. He's worried about her. He keeps his eyes open and an open comlink just in case, Typho said. So, any clue who would take a pot shot at the senator? There is a list. Newt Gunray for one, but the one that's topped the list is a man called Dooku. Naruto stopped and looked at the captain of Padme's security. Count Dooku? Typho nodded. You know him? Yes. He's a former Jedi. He left the Order about 8 years ago. Naruto and Revan didn't like the man. The other Jedi swore up and down about him. Ben said he was Qui-Gon's master. But the man had issues, and Revan said she got that hair on the back of her neck feeling about him whenever he would visit, to see the Namikaze children. Revan had ordered HK to shoot the man if he tried anything. Yoda had listened to both Revan and Naruto's feelings and spoke with Dooku himself to keep his distance. Soon after he left the temple, and that was the last they heard of him. Funny thing is, the Chancellor's office sent a report that it was pirates from one of the moons in the Naboo system. Typho shook his head. We've cleared most of them out. Thanks to Lady Revan we managed to salvage the droids left behind and turn them into a defensive force. Of course they had been repainted and a few more features added. The control was deep in the palace. Rev loves to tinker. I think she spent a century as a droid dealer, Naruto admitted. Typho always gave the Namikaze queer looks when they spoke of being older than they looked. For the next 20 minutes Naruto looked at the systems. He left Typho to find Revan and smiled. Where are Ben and Padme? Revan gestured to the side room where the pair were talking while playing holo chess. How boring, Naruto muttered as he held his wife from behind. I remember many nights spent teaching you to play several games, she said, leaning against him. She turned and kissed his jaw. And you didn't complain then? Naruto snorted. Complain when losing to such a beautiful woman? I was dense, I wasn't dead. Revan smiled. Give them time. It's been 10 years, Naruto whined. She smiled. Obi-Wan was raised in the temple. It's a slow change. Besides, she likes him. Did she tell you that? Naruto asked. Not in as many words. Feel, she said, and Naruto closed his eyes and listened to the Force. He opened his eyes and smiled. No teasing them, Revan said. Naruto pouted. I'm gonna call the temple. Check on the girls, he said. I'll come with you. Poor Shakti is probably at the end of her patience. They are our children, Naruto said. Mistress, HK answered the call. Are you and Master returning soon? The Namikaze swore they heard an edge of desperation in the assassin droid's voice processor. Not yet, HK. Is Night Tea there? Revan asked. Negative, mistress. The spineless meat sack was summoned to the council, HK responded. But the tadpole is present and is occupying the little Mons, children, Revan sighed. Master Yoda? Affirmative, mistress. HK remained quiet. Would you let him know I'd like to speak with him then? Of course, mistress. She heard HK leaving the communications device and heard him muttering about the degradation of going from the greatest assassination droid in the galaxy to wet nurse. She didn't catch the rest of it, but she hoped he didn't use that language around the children. Mommy! 3 voices chorused, and she smiled. Hello, my little angels. I thought Master Yoda was watching you. Watching I am, a voice said, and Revan could only imagine the aged master with her 3 little hellraisers. I am sorry, Master, I had thought Knight T had no duties at present, Revan said. Mission required, the Council sent her along with several others to follow a lead to the attacks on senators. Revan cursed. Is there anything else I should know, Master? Children are fine, safe will I keep them, Yoda said. Revan smiled. But who will keep you safe, Master? Naruto smiled, hearing the chuckle from Yoda. 900 years have I raised Jedi, fine we shall be, worry not. Revan thanked him and with Naruto spoke to the children for a while. Naruto promised to bring them each something when they were done with their mission. And remember, you 3, don't slack off on your training. I left a scroll for Shakti to oversee, but Master Yoda can do it as well, he said. Dad? Anko's voice came over. Yes? Is Aunt Padme okay? She was upset the other night and Mom wouldn't let us visit. The parents exchanged a look. She's fine, Anko. She lost her cousin, that is why she is upset. Will you be back soon? Haku asked. As soon as we can, Revan said. Can we come with? Kushina asked. No, the parents said at the same time. Anko and Haku would be given to a master soon, and they knew Obi-Wan was going to have his hands full then. Kushina thankfully had a couple more years before they had to worry about her being out in the galaxy. Now, remember, brush your teeth before bed and listen to Master Yoda, Revan said. We will. 3 voices chorused. Master. May the Force be with you, Yoda said, and the comlink shut down. Chapter 35. Namikaze Apartments, Jedi Temple. Yoda looked around and reached out with the Force. With a sigh, he summoned his hoverchair and went looking for the 3 wayward children that had moments ago been speaking with their parents. HK, seen the children, have you? Yoda inquired and blinked, finding the droid along with the 3 children missing. Not good. No, not good at all, the aged Jedi Master said as he left the Namikaze Apartments. Yoda didn't have trouble looking for the 3 children and droid, for where they went chaos was soon to ensue. He entered the training room to see it looking like someone had set off a thermal detonator. Master Yoda, Cin Dralig said, straightening his tunic. The weapons master's face was covered in soot, and the weapons rack was destroyed. Inquire to what happened, I do not need to know, Yoda said. Which way did they go? Cin looked down for a moment, then pointed. That way. Yoda left while Cin went to find some help to repair the training room. Yoda's next stop was the meditation hall. He frowned at what looked like a massive pillow fight had taken place, as there wasn't a cushion left untouched. Feathers floated in the air, and several of the knights looked rather guilty when they saw Yoda. Yoda's eyes came to rest on the chuckling form of Kagan Jinn, who since Obi-Wan had made knight had spent more time in the temple working with the younglings. Good day, Master Yoda, Kagan said. The last 10 years had aged him, and despite being in his 70s he carried himself like a man in his 40s still. Master Kagan, 3 strays have I come searching for, Yoda said. Kagan smirked. Lost 3 wee ones have you? He said, and Yoda knew his friend was going to tease him for this later. I think they were heading to the Hall of 1,000 Fountains, he began, and Yoda's eyes widened at this. Now I need to see housekeeping and see if we can get the meditation mats and cushions replaced. Kagan hurried away, but Yoda heard his chortle and knew he was in for a long day and night. Come on, Kushina. Hurry up, Anko said as the 3 children managed to avoid getting caught. HK, come on, the youngest of the Namikaze children said as she tugged on the droid's arm. Statement, Mistress will not approve of your methods, the assassin droid said. Correction, however, Master will find the ensuing chaos hilarious. Haku and Anko shared a look. While their mother was more strict, their father would encourage them to do almost anything in the name of learning, and as long as no one was hurt. I say we get a speeder, Anko said. Haku shook her head. Mom and Dad both said we can't fly a speeder until we're Padawans. Then Dad said it's Uncle Ben's problem. Anko gave her sister a grin. But that hasn't stopped either of them showing us how to pilot, has it? Haku had to agree. Both parents taught them how to pilot and in their mother's case work on and maintain numerous craft, both telling the kids, "Don't tell your mother/father we're doing this." Which was followed by a wink and a new lesson in something, or in their father's case a new jutsu or a trip to Dex's diner for ramen, or as their father said, the closest thing to it in the galaxy. Kushina sighed as she listened to her older sister's talk and looked at the assassin droid that was with her. "HK, you and Daddy take on some missions, right?" "Affirmative." "Statement, Master, and I do a lot of bounty hunting work as well as—" "That's great, HK," Kushina said, cutting the droid off. "What if we wanted you to take us on a mission with you?" HK took a microsecond to ponder the question. "We need to leave the temple," HK finally admitted. Kushina turned to her sisters. "You heard HK, so we'll take a speeder." Haku hesitated while Enko gave a grin that matched her father's whenever the blonde was about to do something that would either be funny or get him in a ton of trouble. All three girls had inherited the grin, and the knights and masters in the temple usually ran the other way when they saw it. "Temple hangar it is," Enko said, and turned a corner. Elsewhere in the temple, Master Yoda had a shiver run up his spine. Naboo Consulate. "Why aren't you with the Senator?" Naruto asked Obi-Wan. "She went to bed," Obi-Wan Kenobi said. Naruto frowned and went to the bank of monitors. "She's covered the camera," he said. "She said she didn't want us watching her sleep," Obi-Wan said, and which was true, but Padme had teased him before going to bed and phrased it in a way that had the Jedi Knight blushing, which he was glad that neither Revan or Naruto had been present for. "She took her RT unit in with her," Obi-Wan said. Naruto remembered the spunky little droid that had saved the ship while under fire and allowed them to escape Naboo and run the Trade Federation's blockade. Revan entered and looked at the monitor. "I'm going to box that girl's ears," she said, and was nearly to the door when all three Jedi felt it. "Trouble," Obi-Wan said, and Naruto vanished with a shunshin. Padme had just rolled over when she felt a weight land on the bed and opened her eyes to see Naruto with a lightsaber in hand decapitate two centipede-like creatures. R2 came awake and was scanning the room, the domed head turned towards the window where a delivery droid was hovering. "On it," Naruto said, deactivating his lightsaber. Obi-Wan beat him and crashed through the window and grabbed the droid. It gave a shriek and took off with Obi-Wan holding on beneath it. "Damn," Naruto said, watching them go. "I wanted to do that." Revan smacked him on the arm. "Get to the speeder and follow." She looked at the guards. "Take the Senator to the safe room. Do not open it until we return," she said, even as Naruto was running down the side of the building using chakra. Typho didn't get a chance to ask a question as Revan's hand blurred through a series of hand seals she learned during her time as a ninja when she along with Naruto lived on his native world of Ibanez. She leapt out the window, landing on the back of a massive raven. "Follow that droid," she ordered. The bird beat its massive wings and took flight. "What was that?" Captain Typho asked before escorting the dazed senator to the safe room. The two dead centipedes left in the room with R2-D2 and the broken window as the only testament that something had taken place in that room moments ago. Naruto reached the ground and jumped in the air speeder, slapping the ignition and throwing it into reverse and then forward without stopping, the engine whining in protest. He looked up to see his wife riding atop the boss Raven, the summons slipping around traffic with ease. She destroyed Sasuke's place looking for it, and once she found it the Ravens were pleased with her as their new summoner. Naruto thought as he flew madly against traffic as he tried to catch up to Ben and the droid. The Raven contract had been lost after Sasuke had killed Itachi, and it had been after Sasuke and the Akatsuki's destruction when they were searching Sasuke's hideout that Raven found the scroll and kept it as a spoils of war. Shaking his head, Naruto flew the speeder above the lane of traffic and saw Obi-Wan and his droid were veering into busier traffic. Crap. Naruto mentally cursed. We need that droid, or at the very least see where it goes, he thought. Naruto admitted that Obi-Wan was doing very well holding onto the droid. Naruto weaved and saw his wife atop her raven, and he saw her preparing another jutsu. We piss off a majority of the council with our abilities, but we get assigned more missions because of what we can do, Naruto thought. They were coming around a sharp turn and Naruto frowned as he saw a speeder and his head turned. What the hell are the kids and HK doing out of the temple? Shaking his head he tapped his comlink. Rev. Busy, came the reply. Our children are out for a joyride, Naruto said into the communicator. Asai came back. We have to deal with this now. Yoda will catch your children and we'll discuss punishment later. There was a pause. Tell me that they at least had HK with them. Yeah, he was in the back seat it looked like. I think Anko was piloting, he said with a hint of pride. Revan said nothing, but across the bond he could feel her pride as well as her annoyance at their children. Obi-Wan was cursing his rashness. This is the kind of thing Naruto does. The Jedi Knight thought as he struggled to maintain his grip. Blasted droid, hold still! Obi-Wan cursed as he was nearly smacked across an incoming speeder. He blinked and twisted and sighed seeing the familiar children and droid. They are a handful, he thought, and wasn't looking forward to being a master to the twins. I'll either be gray or bald before they become knights, he thought, and knew that he would be there when the Namikaze spoke with their children. Turning back to the direction the droid was taking them, he saw the figure on a ledge by several signs lift up a rifle. Oh crap! He said seconds before the droid he was holding onto exploded and he began to free fall to the ground far below. Chapter 36. Obi-Wan hated flying, because there was the logic in his mind: if you flew, you would crash. As the droid exploded, he let go seconds before saving his hands from becoming heavily damaged. He cursed his luck as he was falling, and this time he couldn't even blame Naruto, as he had made the choice to be impulsive. Wonderfully done. This is usually Naruto's thing. I'm never going to live this down, if I live. Obi-Wan thought as he was passing through traffic, amazed that he hadn't ended up as a hood decoration or a smudge on a cockpit. The roar of an engine caught his attention, and he saw a speeder angling with him. The familiar sight of blonde hair caused him to relax, and he used the force to cushion himself as he landed in a heap in the rear seat. Hey Ben! Naruto greeted him, and Obi-Wan could hear the laughter in his friend's voice already. Don't you know you can't fly without a speeder? Or in your wife's case a giant bird? Obi-Wan said, sitting up, and realized Naruto had already pulled the speeder up and was giving chase. They were well behind Revan, who was now after a speeder. Looked like a bounty hunter, Naruto said as Obi-Wan climbed over the seats and strapped himself in. I didn't get a good look, but I think it was a woman, Obi-Wan offered. Naruto nodded as he pushed the speeder faster. What took you so long? Obi-Wan asked. Oh, you know the usual. I had to find the right color, the speeder had to have great acceleration, and I just couldn't find one I liked. Obi-Wan shook his head. You, my friend, are insane. It took you this long to figure it out, Naruto teased as he maneuvered the speeder through traffic, nearly causing several accidents as he cut across oncoming traffic. Did I see the children earlier? Obi-Wan asked, trying to hide his fear of flying by keeping himself occupied. Yeah, and it looked like they had HK with them, but I didn't see Master Yoda, Naruto said. Obi-Wan groaned as he recalled the last time the twins were out of the temple without a Jedi with them. I think the Quarren Embassy has shoot-on-sight orders for them still. Naruto shrugged, unconcerned. They'll be fine. I just wonder what they are going to do this time. Revan growled as she saw the speeder take the long way around. Go over the buildings, she ordered the giant raven. It didn't answer, but beat its wings as it did as ordered. Beloved. Revan sent back over the bond and her idea. Naruto agreed, and she looked over her shoulder to see the bright yellow speeder shoot into a tunnel. One of us will get that hunter, she swore. Was that Mom? Kushina asked. Affirmative, HK said. Anko snorted. No, we're not going back. She saw a speeder pass by and waved to her father before gunning the accelerator and taking a tunnel that would save them time. And that was Dad, Haku said. I think I saw Uncle Ben holding onto a orb droid. Go and help? Kushina asked from her seat in the back. HK felt a moment of panic at what the mistress would say. Negative. Statement: Mistress and Master are on duty, it is Jedi business. Tracking the bounty we decided on is ours. Amendment: unless you wish to return to the temple now. Sorrowful retraction, this HK unit will comply. Oh hell no, Anko said. We're having an adventure. Besides, it'll take them a couple of hours to finish repairing the hangar. Haku nodded. I think we used too much chakra blasting the door open with that fire jutsu. Anko snorted again. Told him to open it. Kushina in the back was currently performing the leaf balance exercise. HK's optics were locked on and was trying to understand more about chakra as the children, like his masters, were able to use the strange energy source that had proven to be a source of great destruction and continued to fascinate the assassin droid with what could be done with chakra. The assassin droid spent countless hours watching Naruto train the children in the ninja arts, and for the first time as long as it could remember it emptied the meat bags. You do know we're going to get scolded, Haku reminded her sister. Anko snorted. If we're going to get yelled at, might as well make it worth it, Anko said, paraphrasing her father. Haku nodded at the logic. In for a credit, in for a cruiser. Kushina remained quiet as she was working on her lesson that her father had given her before he'd left. She knew she was a daddy's girl and she didn't really want to be a Jedi, she wanted to be a ninja like her daddy. Where did you say that informant suggested we look for the target HK? Enko called over her shoulder. Entertainment District. Statement, it's the other way. Enko cursed as she switched the clutch and gunned the speeder down what was an access tunnel for emergency vehicles and then up between two of the skyscraper-like towers, before skimming across another set of buildings. Hope no one opens a window, Haku muttered as her sister was flying like a combat pilot under heavy fire. The sound of sirens had all three children turn to see Coruscant police giving chase. How fast are we going? Haku asked. Enko scowled. Buckle up. They aren't taking us without a fight. Kushina added. We'll die first. Haku, the more logical of the three, sighed. That's what I'm afraid of, she muttered as she tightened the seatbelt. Inquiry, should I open fire, little mistresses? HK inquired with a hopeful glee. No. All three children knew the last thing they needed was for the assassin droid to open fire on CPF. Hold on, Enko called as she put the speeder on a nearly vertical dive, passing through traffic at a breakneck speed. We'll lose them in the lower levels, she said, seeing the cloud bank coming up. Are you insane? Mom forbade us from going down there, Haku said. Would you rather sit in jail? Enko fired back and they hit the darkness of the lower levels, Enko pulling the speeder into what was an abandoned building and shut it down. Kushina, shut HK down. Statement, I prot, SSSSSS. The assassin droid said as Kushina turned him off, his red optical sensors going black as the police speeders went past. That was close, Enko said with a grin. Revan growled as she saw the assassin's speeder, but her ride still couldn't catch it. It was then she felt it in the Force and watched as Naruto, who had exited the tunnel across from her, leap out of the speeder and leave Obi-Wan at the controls. She force leapt across the chasm and landed in the pilot's seat, even as the giant Raven vanished back to the summon realm. Mind if I fly? She asked Ben, who actually looked surprised to see her. Not at all. He looked over the side as Revan brought the speeder's engines back online. I hate when he does that. Revan laughed. It was something only her or Naruto would do. She hit the accelerator and aimed the speeder in time to see Naruto land on the roof of the bounty hunter's speeder. Lucky landing, love, she sent over the bond. You call it luck, I call it skill, Naruto sent back, and she felt his annoyance as a blaster bolt exploded from the roof. Master Revan? Obi-Wan asked. We'll keep back to follow. I think the hunter just became the prey. On the speeder's roof, Naruto used chakra to hold on and stood looking down. That nearly hit me, he yelled. 3 more blaster shots exploded upwards, and thanks to the Force he avoided them, and thanks to decades of chakra training he held on while standing. That's it, Naruto snarled, and his right hand came up, and in it was the spiraling blue form of the first stage of the Rasengan. You're landing, Naruto said, slamming his hand down on the rear of the craft. The engine stood no chance as the Rasengan shredded the housing and then the engine in a matter of seconds. The flames created smoke and the craft started to descend, its engine making a whining sound as its speed increased as it went in for a crash landing. Naruto leapt from the ship before impact. He heard the bounty hunter inside cursing. Naruto rolled and came up to his feet and saw the roof explode upwards and the bounty hunter ejected and ran for the nearest building. A nightclub, Naruto growled. He got a better look and the bounty hunter was female, and he saw the face changing. A shapeshifter, he muttered and turned, feeling the presence of his wife. Nice, she said as her and Obi-Wan exited the speeder. What took you so long? He asked, echoing Obi-Wan's question from before. Oh, nothing matched my robes, Revan shot back. Naruto smiled and gestured. Our hunter is female and a shifter from what I saw. You saw? Obi-Wan asked with a hint of disbelief. Was that before or after you blew the speeder up under you? Now, Ben. It didn't hit anyone and I'm fine, Naruto said. Obi-Wan walked ahead of the Namikaze, muttering about insane blondes, and how he was likely to go gray before he was 40. Naruto looked at his wife. You want to keep watch out here? He asked. Revan sighed. Fine. Go inside and play. Tell Ben to lay off the Juma juice. Naruto grinned and stepped into the bar. Obi-Wan was waiting, his eyes scanning. What do you suggest? You look around, Obi-Wan suggested to his friend. I'm getting a drink. Naruto grinned. A drink? Really, Ben, was my flying that bad? Yes, and your wife is even worse, Obi-Wan Kenobi said as he headed towards the bar and ordered a drink. Naruto slowly maneuvered around the room. He could sense the bounty hunter was here, but not where. He saw patrons drinking, playing games and betting on robot football and several pod races taking place from different venues near the outer rim. Pod racing isn't as great as swoop racing. Those big engines mean very little. He thought after his wife had taken the time to teach him how to ride a swoop bike. Naruto continued to wander the bar. He saw Obi-Wan use the Force on some guy and knew he'd have to get the story of that later. Since Padme showed up, he's become more reckless. The thought of his friend bending the rules made Naruto smile. Rev won't let me lock them in the Falcon's cargo hold until they have sex. I need to give him a hand or he'll be a lonely Jedi hermit on some moon living his days alone. Naruto thought. He was just passing Ben when the Force flared and he spun at the same time that Obi-Wan's lightsaber ignited and destroyed the blaster that had been aimed at his back. The bounty hunter went down as the kunai Naruto had thrown buried into her shoulder. Your shifter? Obi-Wan asked with a drawl. Naruto looked at the clothes and nodded. He looked around the cantina that had fallen silent. Jedi business, go about your business. He said, grabbed the bounty hunter's other arm, hauling her to her feet, while Obi-Wan grabbed the injured one and they dragged her from the nightclub. Revan blinked when her husband and Obi-Wan dragging the bounty hunter. She recognized her. Sam? You know her? Obi-Wan asked surprised. Sam Wessel. She's a Claudite shapeshifter, Revan said, then looked at Sam. Do you know who it was that you were trying to kill? Sam grunted in pain and looked at Revan. The senator from Naboo. She took a hard breath when Naruto removed the kunai from her shoulder. Who hired you? Obi-Wan demanded, his voice with a harder edge than before. Sam just glares at him. It was just a job. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Jedi Knight known for his patience, snapped. Tell us. Sam glared. That senator is gonna die soon anyway, and the next one won't make the same mistake I did. She taunted Obi-Wan. Sam, your wound is going to need treatment, Revan said, trying to appeal to the hunter. Obi-Wan cut her off. Who hired you? Tell me, tell us now. Sam shot the Jedi Knight a look filled with hate. Sam, please, Revan said. It was a bounty hunter called. There was a FTZZZ sound and Sam twitches. She blinks in surprise and reverts to her Claudite form. All three turn, hearing a WEHOOSH from above them. They turn and look up, seeing an armored rocket man taking off from a roof high above. Naruto and Revan exchange a surprised look. Obi-Wan looks down and touches Sam's neck, where he pulls out a small, wicked-looking dart. Toxic dart, he says, looking at it in the palm of his hand. Worse than that, Revan says, looking in the direction the rocket man had flown. Things have gotten so much worse. Naruto put a hand on his wife's shoulder. Could someone be impersonating him? He mentally sent. Someone stupid enough to steal that armor has a death wish. No, it's him. Revan sent back. And I intend to find out why.